The Israeli military bombed the airport in Yemen's rebel-held capital for a second straight day on Tuesday. The BBC's Sebastian Usher says despite an announced truce with the U.S., the Houthi rebels have no plans of stopping their attacks against Israel.
The showdown between the Houthis and both Israel and the U.S. has intensified recently before Washington and the Houthis came to an apparent deal. U.S. forces had carried out devastating attacks in Yemen, which were considerably more intense than those carried out under the Biden administration. The same has also been true between the Houthis and Israel. On Monday, Israel mounted a major attack on the international airport in the Yemeni capital, Sana'a. That operation was in response to a Houthi rocket that had got through Israeli air defense and exploded near the main airport in Tel Aviv the day before.
That report from the BBC's Sebastian Usher. You'll find more of these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to it. Week's almost here. Of course, we got big baseball playoffs, softball playoffs this weekend. Don't forget, we will have Goddard Rocket baseball for you on the radio tomorrow afternoon and Saturday morning as well. Goddard Rockets are a 12th seed in the state playoffs here. The first round of the playoffs is a best of three at the higher seed, and then if they win that best of three, then they go to the tournament style next week in Rancho or Albuquerque, wherever they're doing it. But anyway, so the first round there, the Goddard Rockets are a 12 seed. They're going to take on the 5th seed, Los Alamos. And so that'll be a best of three matchup. Game one will be tomorrow afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Henry, who's been calling games for us all year for Goddard, he's going to be traveling to Los Alamos this weekend to bring you all the action. We'll have it right here on the radio at 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Like we said, game one, 4:30 tomorrow with pregame and everything. Probably start around 4:15, 4:20, assuming they start on time, which I'm going to assume they are since it's just them there. And then game two will take place 10 a.m. Saturday morning. We will also have that game for you right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Henry will stick around to call that game for you in Los Alamos. If it goes to a game three, that game will be played immediately after game two on Saturday. If there is a game three, we will also be carrying that here for you right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, assuming that'll start roughly around 1 p.m., assuming 2-3 hours for the game one here. So, but we'll have all of those for you. And if Goddard advances, we'll carry playoff baseball action on the radio for you here next week as well. Don't forget, because we're in the playoffs, we do not we're not able to acquire video permissions for the game in Los Alamos or the games in Los Alamos. So it will be audio only on that one, and that it'll also have it on. If you went to go normally watch the video, you can catch it there, but it'll also be audio only as well. There won't be any video to go with that. We don't have permissions to do that. So, and basically what you'll hear is you'll hear the radio broadcast on the video side with a screenshot or something here. So we got all that there for you. But that'll be tomorrow at 4:30, Friday, and then again Saturday at 10 o'clock for Game 2, Game 3 if necessary. Right after there, we'll have all of that for you right here on the radio and at ksvptv.com, audio only on the video channel there. So got that for you. Something else. I feel like there's something else I was going to mention that's coming up too, but I'll think about it later. So, also, NHL. I know no one cares and all that stuff, but now that we have a ECHL team coming, which is going to be a minor league team. Well, it's hockey. It's Stanley Cup playoffs right now. Yes, Stanley Cup playoffs right now are going on. They NBA playoffs and Stanley Cup playoffs usually run around the same time. Stanley Cup playoffs usually start a week or two earlier than the NBA playoffs do, but they always run concurrently. That's year after year. But with hockey this year, they had a couple hockey things. Obviously, with the ECHL team coming, I thought, hey, people. I hope people get behind the Rio Rancho team. I don't know if they're going to call it the New Mexico whatevers or the Rio Rancho whatevers. They have signed a deal and worked a deal where the 2026-2027 season, Rio Rancho will be hosting an ECHL hockey team. ECHL is minor league hockey for NHL. It is 2 levels below. So the players that, and from what I'm understanding, the Dallas Stars are the ones that are helping put this organization together in Albuquerque or Rio Rancho. And so methinks more than likely they will be a minor league affiliate for the Dallas Stars, which means there'll be 2 levels. So the players that would be playing in Rio Rancho, they're basically 2 levels away from playing for the Dallas Stars, if that makes sense. It is the league called the AHL. The ECHL is the East Coast Hockey League. It is all over the United States, so don't worry about the East Coast part. The one above that is the American Hockey League, the AHL, and that is the top minor league for the NHL. Like if you're a baseball fan, AHL is like AAA, where ECHL is like AA baseball, if that makes sense to baseball people. Well, it does, but basically what happens is you're 2 levels away. So say the Dallas Stars, they want to bring up somebody, they need a player, they're going to pull it from their AHL team. Well, when the AHL team has a guy go up, they're going to pull from the Albuquerque or the Rio Rancho team, bring them up to the AHL team. So in essence, they're 1 step away from. And what could also happen too is say an NHL player gets hurt and is out for a while, but they want to rehab him and play, slowly bring him in. Sometimes they'll put him in the ECHL team or the AHL team, depending on space, and let him play a couple games a month or two. So you might see a few Dallas Stars from time to time pop in on that roster for whatever they're going to call the Rio Rancho team. So anyway, it's pretty cool. I hope we support it because, yes, because they're under contract with the Dallas Stars. These players that play, or most of them are under contract with the Dallas Stars or whoever the major league affiliate would be. So they're property of them. They were and NHL is different than NFL draft. Like, it's not uncommon for first-round draft picks in NHL to spend a year or two in the minors before they're playing in NHL. It's not, it's not like NFL where you draft the first overall pick and that dude's your starter or something in the NFL level. NHL is not necessarily the case. They can literally draft the number 1 overall guy. He'll sit in the minors for 2 years and then come up and play in NHL. That's how it works in NHL. It's not as quick as it is in, say, football or other sports. Because football doesn't really have a farm system like baseball or hockey or the NBA for that matter. NBA less, but well, yeah, there's not farm clubs for those. Whereas baseball and hockey, they have actual farm clubs that it's a farm club for the AHL, which is a farm club for the NHL. It makes sense. But it's all a farm club for the NHL. So it's just where they put these players when they're ready. But anyway, I want to mention that because also want to mention that NHL yesterday, Utah had got a hockey team last year, expansion team. And they had a naming contest, and it took forever to get the name of that team. they've been just known as the Utah Hockey Club for the last 2 years. Well, it's not synonymous with jazz, but like jazz, Utah went. I guess they don't like using plural team names, like like the Coyotes or the Rockets. They don't like those kind of names. They like words without S's. So right. Well, and so this one is their new name is the Utah Mammoth.
Mammoth.
Mammoth, like woolly mammoth?
Yeah.
But they're mammoth.
Not mammoths.
No. Mammoth. They are the Utah Mammoth. Now they're going with an ice mammoth. And so their slogan is tusks up.
Okay.
So that's going to be the whole Utah Mammoth. I did see some of their promo videos.
Yeah.
And it was all right. It was the video. A lot of people are not. If the internet does what the internet does, you put a name out there and people get all salty. But the consensus was, from what I'm reading, is most people don't like the mammoth. I don't have a problem with it.
So is mammoth like not the animal? Like
yes.
Is it like more like a concept?
Yeah,
like,
it's the Ice Age. It's an extinct ant.
Like a monolith or something?
No, it's like the extinct mammoth, woolly mammoth, but this is the ice mammoth. And and so everyone's putting up the pictures from Ice Age with that thing.
With Ray Romano.
Yeah, with the Ray Romano's elephant mammoth. And so, but that's their logo. Yeah,
many.
Yeah, but they went with so now they got the Utah Jazz and the Utah Mammoth.
Okay.
I could see the potential there, but here's the other thing. Apparently, there is a lacrosse team also called the Utah Mammoth.
Oh.
And they go tusk up just like the hockey team. So now people are like, did you just steal everything from the lacrosse club?
Yeah, that's kind of fishy.
But then again, if 6 people don't know about you, then I guess you didn't. Huh?
I should have called it mammoths.
Yeah. or I don't know. I see that there was it was almost the Yeti for a little bit. Yeti was going around pretty popular. And I think there's a good section of people that kind of wanted that abominable snowman Yeti look as opposed to mammoth. So that's the salty people, I think. I could care less. I don't have a dog in the fight. It's Utah.
No, I think I like mammoth more than Yeti. Yeti's kind of basic.
Yeah.
A little
well,
bit.
Now most people think of Yeti now. They don't think of a snowman. They think of a cup. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Or microphones.
Yeah. A cooler. All right. Let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. We do have a full slate for you. We got the folks from Harvest Ministries. Mark Green's going to join us here in just a bit. Give us an update on...
and Amelia Benavides.
Oh, very good. They're in the need of volunteers. Last time we talked with Mark, so we'll talk with them in just a bit. We're going to talk Scouting America in the 8 o'clock hour. We're going to have, I believe, Victoria Arnett, Bobby Arnett, might be a few other of the scouts as well. Every year during Memorial Day weekend, they go out to South Park Cemetery and the cemeteries to help put flags out at all the veterans' graves, and they do this every year. They've been doing it for years, and they will be doing that again here on May 24th, and they just want to invite the public and everybody to come out and help them do it out, help them go out there on the 24th and put all these flags out there. So we'll talk a little about that and scouting with them in the 8 o'clock hour. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, Crystal Noble, this time wearing her Humane Society for Roswell here, is going to join us and give us an update what's happening at the Roswell Humane Society. Pets available for adoption and any deals, things going on at their thrift store. Plus, we'll have all of your newses of the local, national, variety, Wall Street business updates, and whatever else we can come up with for today's show. But first, your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Staying fairly cool today. Low pressure over the southern plains, but we're getting some return flow out of southern Texas, and that might bring us a few showers or thunderstorms. Mix of sun and clouds, and we'll stay in the mid-70s. Still a shower or two hanging around overnight, and we'll be in the low 50s, mid-70s for the afternoon high on Friday. Slim chance of a shower. Things look sunny and comfortable for the weekend. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, sorry, I didn't get my weather refreshed. Currently 52 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 83%. Winds are out of the northwest at 6 miles per hour. We are looking at a 30% chance at some showers and thunderstorms after 3 today. Mostly sunny and 75 otherwise, with north winds at around 5 miles per hour. 30% chance at scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight. We'll get that out, mainly before 9 p.m. So it looks like for today, we got rain chance between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. today. Partly cloudy, overnight low of 53 with northwest winds at around 5 miles per hour. Friday, sunny, 76 for a high tomorrow. Winds out of the north, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Friday night, clear skies, overnight low of 51. East winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, we're looking at sunny skies and 77 for a high. Winds will be out of the east at 5 miles per hour. And then we'll hit 80s on Sunday. Sunny and 81 there. And next week, 90s all week. 92 on Monday. 93 and breezy on Tuesday. 89 on Wednesday and breezy. But, yeah, we're going to be sitting around 90s for most of next week there. All right, 7:20, we're going to take a 3.5-minute break, and then we're going to talk, with Harvest Ministries. It's postal carriers, it's that time of year where you are asking you to leave your food out by your mailboxes. So we'll talk all that next on the other side of the break. Don't go away.
Dion's is homegrown right here in New Mexico and is the perfect place for team dinners, family gatherings, and all of your catering needs. Stop by our location on South Main and West Wildy, where you can feed 5 for $35 plus tax with a large one-topping pizza and a family-size salad. With Dion's, we make it easy to bring together your favorite people with your favorite food. Visit Dion's.com to order ahead for dine-in or for pickup. That's Dion's.com. Dion's, where great food and good people meet.
Maybe your AC unit needs a little tender loving care. If you don't know where to turn, then you don't know Jack. In fact, they're downright funky. Let the boys at Fergie's Plumbing and Heating get your AC unit ice cold, just like some of my lady friends. Don't let any fool make you lose your cool. Fergie's Plumbing and Heating. If you don't know Fergie, then you don't know Jack. 632-2668.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and walk out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our aggressive finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners, Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone, get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new loan subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires in month's end.
You received a social media message or text from an unknown number. They started a conversation with you, and over time, they earn your trust. Then, they encourage you to invest online or buy cryptocurrency. And when you do, they disappear, along with your money. But it can be avoided. The Securities Division of New Mexico's Regulation and Licensing Department can help. Learn to spot the red flags of investment scams at rld.nm.gov/red flags or call 505-476-4580.
Some wounds need expert care to heal properly. At Artesia General Hospital's Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine Center, we use advanced treatments like hyperbaric oxygen therapy to help chronic wounds heal faster. If you or a loved one has a wound that won't heal, call 575-736-8235 today and take the first step toward recovery.
Have you experienced the Valley Cafe yet? It's much more than lunch or dinner. It's an experience. Chef Anthony Noble is a nominated Chef of the Year and manager with a 4.9 out of 5 kitchen cleanliness rating and a 4.8 out of 5 most love rating. It's time for you to experience the difference that so many others already have at the Valley Cafe. Visit for lunch or dinner at 801 West Brasher, the orange building across from Church on the Move in Roswell, and save the Valley Cafe in your contacts. 575-755-EATS, 575-755-3287. Don't forget, we can cater your event too, and a portion of our proceeds go to the Dream Center in Roswell.
A Greek-Canadian man invented the Hawaiian pizza. His name was Tex Colorado, and he was from Detroit. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:24, and joining us in studio this morning, Mark Green from Harvest Ministries back with us, and also back with us, Amelia Benavides with the United States Postal Service.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Mike.
How's life treating you guys?
Good.
Well, we all know if you two are together, it must mean it's that time of year.
Yep, it sure is.
Yeah. Every year, for those of you not familiar, every year, the United States Postal Service has their annual letter carriers food drive, and it's always around this time, May time frame, and this hope happens all over the country. It's not just here in Roswell. This is hopefully every town in America.
It's like over 250 communities participate.
Very good. So it's a bunch of them. Yeah. So on May 10th, this Saturday, we're going to be doing it again every year, and they partner each year with Mark and Harvest Ministries, and we're collecting food. So when on Saturday, before the mail carrier comes to drop, most people usually know what time the mail carrier...
Yeah, we're pretty set on our times.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're a little bit later, but usually around the same time every day.
Well, I guess it depends on your shifts. Like, I'm not sure if you're Monday through Friday persons, you're Saturday person.
We have like days off varied,
Right.
and then if somebody calls in, it's not like a normal job. We all have to cover for them,
Sure.
So
the mail's got to get out.
Yeah,
regardless.
the mail has to get out. So they split those routes sometimes if we don't have a body available.
Gotcha. So if that happens,
that comes then your mail might be a little earlier or a little bit later that day.
Yeah, but either way, you generally kind of know when the mail rolls in your neighborhood there. What we're asking is leave a bag. If you've got the bag, I know they usually pass up, but if you don't have the bag's not
we didn't have quite enough for the whole city of Roswell this year, but we did have quite a few out there. But you could place your non-perishable goods in any bag.
Yeah, that's all we're asking is put a collection together of non-perishable foods, leave it out at your mailbox. If you've got, I know a lot of neighborhoods got the big community mailboxes where the whole street or whatever's got their stuff on there. Just leave on the top there if you want. And, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, there are other options too. They always keep a box set up at the downtown post office here. That's mostly, so if you've got a P.O. box, this is where you drop it off.
Yes.
But they'll have a big box at the post office.
Yeah, we'll make sure that's set up today over there. Yeah.
And that way you can drop it off there, or if you get your mail at the post office there, you can drop them in there. Or if you do, some people do get door to door. You can leave them out by the porch. Just let the post person know.
Yeah, just let them know. Yeah, for sure. And then if there's for some reason you can't, like you have a disability or something, you can't get that food out, let us know, and we'll be able to.
We'll make sure someone visits or gets.
Yeah, just call the Roswell Post Office. We'll make sure we get that address and get somebody to your house to get that.
Absolutely. And so this, and to be honest, and then from there, all the food goes to Harvest Ministries. And Mark, where your organization, they're the ones, and this is what they do every day. This is what Harvest Ministries does. I think a lot of people in New Mexico are familiar with Roadrunner Food Bank and things like that serves all the New Mexico. Well, guess what? Harvest Ministries is that branch here in southeast New Mexico.
Right. So we have Feeding America, which is national. And then over most of New Mexico, it's Roadrunner Food Bank, and then we're over Chaves County.
Yeah. So it's basically in that pipeline there. So this is what they do. They're the food distribution business. So the letter carriers will. So if you see and this is the idea. I want to see every postal truck on Saturday with those springs from the shock absorbers.
Yeah, that's what we want to see every year.
Screaming because they're all way down with cans of food.
Last year I think we got like almost, I think was it 9,000 pounds?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah, so we're trying to beat that record. Of course, every year we try to beat that. But overall, just give you a couple of numbers here. We started Stamp Out Hunger in 1993, and during that time, we've collected 1.9 billion pounds of food nationwide. And then in New Mexico alone, last year, Albuquerque is, of course, our biggest city in New Mexico.
Most need
they collected 150,000 pounds alone in Albuquerque last year.
That's great.
And then we had like 18 communities in New Mexico that also participated. Overall, I mean, that's well over 200,000 pounds of food that we collected in New Mexico alone.
And every pound of that is needed.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Every pound could literally go out and serve days later.
Yes.
It's that the need is that great.
And the need's really serious this year.
Well,
I mean, that's what
between flooding and just the nature of the world we've been living in the last couple of years.
And the cost of food.
Oh, the cost of life, with people that were already on the verge are now they were on when you get your couch surfers for homeless or people that at the end of the day that their budget barely covers the food costs they got, and then you hit them with the food costs and the eggs and all the stories we hear. And guess what? Guess what gets sacrificed?
And a lot of our individuals in our community are in fixed incomes. Our senior citizens, with all the costs, going up, their income doesn't go up. You know what I'm saying? So they're having to make some sacrifices, and a lot of time that comes, with not being able to to get the food that they normally get.
And I'm also hearing, and I'm sure you're probably well versed, but programs that, your Meals on Wheels, programs that are kind of designed like there are, some people qualify for that, certain don't, and there's a lot of people that technically don't qualify it, but they are in severe need of food, and just because they don't check a box doesn't mean they're not starving, and so we got to fill that void where Meals on Wheels, these are all great organizations, but because of how they're structured, not everybody gets food that needs it.
Well, that's one thing about Harvest Ministries. There are no qualifications.
Right.
I mean, there are. We would like for there to be. I mean, if you drive up in a brand new SUV or something,
we might say, "Hey, do you really need this?"
We're not going to say anything, but we might think it.
Right. Like,
no. But if you're in need, we're not going to. Who are we
if
to judge that?
Exactly. Hungry people need food.
Right.
Let's get them fed. We'll figure the rest out later. That's
yeah.
You know what I mean? We're here to tend needs. So we appreciate everybody every year that makes the effort to collect some non-perishables and leave them out. We're asking you. You got here about 2-3 days to collect and get together
and share those pictures. Get your grandkids, your kids out there. Take a picture of them putting the food out by the mailbox.
Absolutely.
Share it on social media. That's a big thing for us.
Absolutely. Yeah,
get the word out.
And here's something, and we've talked about this in the past, Mark, is the timing of this event is by design.
It's
it works.
Perfect.
Yes.
It's perfect.
It really is,
it works well. And this is the reason for that is one of the major resources for food collections and things like that for places like Harvest Ministries is schools. Schools do food drives all year, and these schools collect hundreds of pounds of food, and that really helps places like Harvest Ministries get through the times here. Well, guess what's happening here in a few weeks, if not already in some places? Kids are going home for the summer. They're going summer break, which means that resource dries up every year. And to be honest, some of the biggest demands are during the summer months. So y'all put it together. This drive here is vitally important to help get us through the summer months.
Well, everybody's taking their vacations, and we're glad everybody gets to do that. I
Absolutely.
like to do that
That's
too.
life. We're supposed to do that.
Yeah, but during the summer months, there are leanest months, both for financial donations and for food donations. There are almost zero food drives during the summer. All the organizations, everybody's just kind of, scattered that way.
Everybody's they got summeritis, just
they
like everybody else.
Exactly. And so all of those things kick in again in the fall. But we've got these long droughts of summer months that without food drives. So this one happens right before that, so it kind of stocks us up for the summer.
Yeah.
Usually by August, our shelves are pretty empty.
It's pretty bare.
And we're writing letters to the school
So
superintendent and everybody to say, hey, can we do food drives again this year?
Yeah, well, maybe folks will, because thank goodness for our letter carriers. They're kind of keeping us going for these first few months. But like you said, June, July, and August time frames, it starts getting a little lean here again. Throw the gauntlet out. Is there any organizations out there listening saying, hey, maybe y'all ought to think about a food drive in June or July? That might be something more, or your organization here, because this is and it's the same with everything. Blood services, their donations go down, food donations. Summer months, the needs generally go up, but the supply generally goes down.
Sure. And a lot of kids are out of school, and there are places where they can go and get meals. But sometimes, it just depends on whether the parents or grandparents, whoever's taking care of those kids, is going to be responsible.
The schools do step up during the summer months when they're food.
Right. Are they going to be responsible to get them there so they get their meals and
that's
that
the
sort
problem
of thing?
too. Is that's the other wrinkle in it. So, so please, the moral of the story is, between now and Saturday, start collecting. If you're going Hey, my wife makes hominy casserole. It's delicious.
Oh, yeah?
It's got Doritos and ground beef and cheese and hominy, and it's a 10. So
okay,
hominy's good too.
Yeah.
And also, I want to give a big shout out to our letter carriers here in Roswell, and then also we're participating in Clovis Brutalis. I've been helping them out this year too.
Excellent. So kind of
we're trying to broaden. During COVID, a lot of facilities decided not to do it after that. So we're trying to get it back in motion in those communities. But a big shout out to the Roswell Post Office. Those carriers work very hard. We're delivering not just mail packages.
Absolutely.
We're having to pick up that food. It takes a little bit longer for them to do it. A little bit. Well, it's physically harder, but it's well worth it
but
for
this
us.
Is kind of that, and to me, this has always been that, your post person, your postman and neighborhood, that there's always that relationship. Obviously when we were younger, it was, you see it all the time with the, you used to leave the Christmas bonuses in the mailbox.
Do they still do that?
I don't
not as much as I've been there almost 20 years, and it's definitely a thing of the past in certain neighborhoods, in certain places.
Right, that's kind of all. But your letter carrier was like part of the neighborhood. You know what I mean? And they knew everybody and all that. And okay, it's not to that level anymore, but I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, I still have customers that they know me by name and I know them by name, and once you're on a route for quite a bit, you become family to a lot of these individuals. You see them every day. There's not a lot in walks of life. Some of these elderly, especially, they don't really have much family around, and the only person they see every day is you.
You're their social circle.
So I have a lot of friends on my route. I really enjoy visiting every day.
But you also get kind of the finger on the pulse of the neighborhood, so to speak. And so what better person to say, hey, these are the foods, because you guys know where the need is and stuff. And so I'm going to take a stab. That's probably how this started way years ago, back when was. Every time I go into my neighborhoods and I see these people struggling, we're here every day. Maybe we can do something about this. And that's probably how this whole started.
And that's the numbers show for it. I mean, that's a lot of pounds of food since '93. So that's very impressive.
Well, and the fact of the matter is needed, because let's face it, if this event didn't happen, Harvest Ministries might have a real
We'd
problem.
have a slim summer.
Keeping things on the shelves and help available to people.
But a lot of credit goes to Amelia too. You've been doing this how many years? As long as I've been at Harvest.
I'm getting ready to retire soon, and I'm trying to find my replacement. As a matter of fact,
10 years on this show.
Right. I've been here long. Probably about almost 15 years now.
I say it's been 10 years.
And everything she does is volunteer. So all these extra hours, trips to Clovis and Hobbs, is it? Yeah.
Well, to Portales, Clovis, and just in the community itself, and just
It's all volunteer. She didn't get paid for that.
Why I got a funny feeling that when you retire, you're still going to be back doing it.
I am still going to be doing it. I know. I have to keep myself busy. I'd go crazy.
Because I'm going to say, you're about to retire, but I got a feeling we're going to see you here.
I have a few more. I'm trying to find my replacement. I tell everybody, I was like, hey, come on, let's do this.
Well,
but
somebody
couple years. I think a couple years I might be out of there. A few more years.
But this is such an important thing, and we're so appreciative that the people that support this and do it every year. We want to see it too. I'm not going to lie. I hope you make every postal worker bust their hump on Saturday.
Yeah.
I want to see countless trucks. I'll be like, we need another truck because we've got too much stuff. And that's kind of what Saturday goes. It's the organization with the Harvest Ministry.
It's definitely a team effort between us. And, of course, we give a big shout-out to Harvest Ministries because they really help us out every year.
It's logistical.
It takes a lot to get this going because we have volunteers that unload the trucks for the carriers when they come in because everything's based on time. It seems like lately everything is like, let's go. So, we have people, unloading our trucks for us. It makes it a little bit easier for us. Plus, we're exhausted by the time we get back to the office. That little extra help really goes a long way.
We also don't forget that, by the way, you have thousands of letters and packages that got to go out as just part of it. This is what we do on Saturday.
And it's very difficult lately, too, with Amazon and other packages. We've become we deliver a lot of packages now, just put it that way. And our trucks are very small. So we're having to literally logistically put all the food in here, still have your packages to deliver, still trying to find, that's where we come, we go out in the street and help unload these trucks while they're actually delivering to make more room for them to pick up more food.
Get them on the fly, so to speak. It's like, all right, we can unload and keep going.
Yeah.
But again, folks, it'll this Saturday, May 10th. That's this year's Stamp Out
It's
Hunger
always
event.
the Saturday before Mother's Day. That's a great way to remember.
You know, I like that. I didn't think of it that way. There you go. So Mom's on Sunday, the community on Saturday.
Yeah,
think of
for
it
sure.
that way. And I would also throw this out here too, because last time we talked to you, Mark, if you're wanting to do more than just leave some cans of food out in front of your house on Saturday, I invite you to come volunteer at Harvest Ministries.
Absolutely. We're still in need of volunteers. You know, for many years, I've talked to some of the other agencies, and they would be saying, "Yeah, we just don't have enough volunteers," and I would stay quiet because we had more than enough volunteers.
It's like, we're pretty good, but I don't want to brag.
We're real good. But you know, this year really a lot of them have passed away, some have gotten older, and
your volunteers are so dedicated. They've been doing it for 20 years in some cases, and guess what happens? You get older in 20 years.
Yeah.
And at some point, you know, we haven't figured out how to stop that one yet.
And we're still good. We've got a great crew. We got about 40. Well, actually, our volunteer appreciation dinner is tonight, and we got about 42, I think, right now that regularly volunteer. So it's still a good group. We need about 50, so we're needing about 8 to 10 more volunteers to come in and work, you know, 1 day a week or whatever, and just 1 day a week is nothing. You know, it's 3 hours, 1 day a week.
And it's very, like, if you're a people person, love to talk to people and love socializing, this is a great opportunity because you get to talk with folks, you get to visit, and then the volunteers in and of itself are kind of their family in and of itself too. Or like you said, they've been together for years, and so you want to make some friends, meet some new people, and dare I say, broaden your social circle a bit. Volunteering at Harvest Ministries or some of those ancillary benefits from doing that. You know, yes, at the end of the day, we're here to serve and here to help, and you're going to have a bunch of moments that you're going to be tired, but you feel really good about the work you did at the end.
And you're working with some really good people, because the people who come to volunteer are people who have good hearts and want to give back to the community and want to serve God. So yeah, you're working with some really great people anyway, and we have a great fellowship, great friendship down there, and we're friends for life. Those of us who've been there for a while.
It serves your own mental health as it does helping these other people. Especially you get on social media and I don't care what it is. And by the time of that, if you're not good and ticked off, then you probably didn't do it right. And so to kind of cleanse the palate, to remind you that the world is not all trash, come volunteer at Harvest Ministries. Or if that's not your jam, find some place and volunteer. Get involved. You know?
Right. And Harvest, of course, we serve 16 other agencies in town that distribute food in one way or another. So and also this year, Salvation Army is going to help us at the Postal Annex picking up.
Good
so
deal. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
well,
they're send their truck.
They're out there doing the Lord's work too.
That's
they're out there doing their
so this
thing.
year we invited them to come join us. And
excellent, love it. More the merrier. We never can have too many people wanting to help out here, and so guess what? Now the attention turns on we the public. Please put it on your fridges, write it, put a note in your phone. I don't care what.
Share it social media wise. Put it on your Facebook.
Tie a string around your finger, whatever it is you do to remind
takes.
yourself. Get a whatever you can afford. If you can, hey, if you got it, you want to load boxes of stuff. Maybe give us a heads up so we can logistically get that done. But
yeah, just even if you just leave one thing, like for example, my route has like 800 stops.
Yeah.
So you can imagine if one person left only one thing.
Yeah.
That's 800 different cans of variety of foods you could get.
So if it's one can or
anything,
20 cans, whatever
anything.
you can do, you can donate. It is greatly appreciated. And like if you want to make a special now, like if someone says they're going to go grocery shopping, Mark, to do stuff, what's like the biggest need things that you can never keep on the shelves that are always in need?
You know, we always have a hard time keeping canned meat and canned soup.
Okay.
So
like, chunky soups or progressive soups.
Right.
And,
so we just had a peanut butter drive by Eastern Mexico, the hospital.
Medical center.
Yeah.
MMC.
Yeah, all of those letters. Yeah, anyway, they always do something for us. And so this year they got together with police, EMS, fire,
all
and
the
some other organizations. Yeah, and
nice.
Yeah, I think it was 1,600 pounds of peanut butter. So
nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're good for peanut butter. So if you want to donate peanut butter, that's good. But if you're going shopping, we could really use soup. We will be out of soup here in a couple of months, and I'll have to. Whenever we do that, then I have to go and see if I can find somewhere to buy it.
Condensed soup, all of the above, but I'm going to take the heat and eat kinds are probably more needed than. But if you got the condensed soups, they're good
Any of
for.
them are good. Sure.
I'm sorry. To this day, some of my favorite meals condensed Campbell's tomato soup.
Oh yeah.
And a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah. still a staple.
Yeah, that's comfort food.
For sure.
But and I'm one of these people. Call me bougie. I use milk instead of water for my my tomato soup. It adds a creamy level. I'm a little fancy. Sorry.
Along with the Thousand Island and your the egg.
My deviled egg.
Your deviled egg.
My mom taught me that one because
Yeah.
everyone puts the mayonnaise. She's like, just put the Thousand Island dressing in there. Works the same, and she ain't wrong. It's pretty good. But anyway, yes, please donate. And so, and like I say, canned meats. I'm thinking like. If you've got like chili, the canned chilies, or Spam, or your
any of the canned meats, tuna, chicken, all of that. Yeah. So we're always in need of that.
Those are proteins in cans.
Right.
Those are good. But yeah, soups are a big hit.
And anything with a pop top is always better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no frozen items because they will not survive in our trucks that long. Just think about it that way.
Anything that needs refrigeration,
no,
we cannot accept that.
And no bread.
Now,
and no bread, it gets smashed in our truck.
Anything like that. It's got if it comes in a can, you're probably pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Any of your box things like your hamburger helpers and
that's
rices
fine.
and various beans, those are all good.
Mm-hmm.
The microwave stuff, like we mentioned earlier, if you go into that canned soup section and grab, usually they have those microwavable cans of Campbell soups and various soups. Those are all great.
And then also the pop tops.
Yes, everything's pop-topped.
Sometimes it's hard to open those cans, especially when you have one hand.
Boxes of mac and cheese,
Right.
That kind of, beans and rice are always staples. You hear the rice, beans and rice, and Jesus Christ, that's all we need. Well, bring beans and rice. We can got plenty of that, and it goes out, and we can get a lot to people. But all that kind of stuff, things that are meals that help, and this is why, Mark said, clean out your things, and I agree, but let's, if you wouldn't eat it, then maybe not get rid of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
People like if you got black olives from 50 years ago, no one's gonna want black olives from 50. Just throw them bad boy in the trash.
And it takes time to go through them, but we're going to go through them anyway.
Yeah.
So,
but because you got to.
We have to date them.
Yeah. But do you get a fudge like okay? It expired like a week ago. We're still good there, right? I mean, you guys can.
Oh yeah. We've got a USDA list. So a lot of those things are a best by date.
Gotcha.
And they're not an expiration date.
Yeah.
Anything that has to do like baby formula, baby food stuff like that, the day of it's out.
Yeah,
It's
that's
thrown
strict.
away.
But these cans where they give you these arbitrary dates 4 years from now.
No, when I was in Africa, I was eating stuff that was 5 years out of date. I don't recommend that, but as long as the can wasn't swollen. But we don't do that. We have USD guidelines that we go by.
Sure.
So if something's expired, sometimes it's good for 6 months, a year later. And so,
well, that's good because I was like, man, because if they're that strict on the dates, that really eliminates a lot of food you can give to people because, quite frankly, a can of food that's a week or a month past the expiration date is probably just fine.
Oh, no, it is, almost always.
Yeah, it's probably just fine. Now, if you look at it and it says, like, Best Buy 1996, all right, maybe we need to talk a little bit.
We do get things sometimes that are 10, 15.
What's your record
20.
right now? What do we have?
I think we've got
80s?
things that are over 20 years old.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember I had talked to somebody and they said they had actually a can from the 80s.
That's
I was like, wow.
All right.
People
let's not have those.
It's been that long since they've cleaned out their cans.
Right. Somebody's listening.
Wow.
Challenge. This can of peas, my grandmother had it in her cabinet in 1977.
Yeah.
And she passed it on to me, and I'm passing it on to you. That's when you know it's bad. It's like I didn't even live in this house when this can of food was here, but it carried over from another place.
Man.
Yeah, my children weren't even born when this can was.
Right.
Like I've had a couple. Like I literally pulled a can out one time, and I'm like, that was 2 houses ago.
I was just going through my pantry. My husband was, and it was like, he's expired a year ago. And I'm like, oh, I guess I need to go through my pantry more often.
I moved this can of peas. It's moved 2 moves. This can of peas has come with me. It ends up in a box.
It happens. But
does.
just go through it's a good time to clean, spring cleaning.
That's right. Use this as your room. All right. That means time to tackle the pantry here.
Yeah, right.
Get it done before Saturday. And,
make some room in there.
Absolutely. And then I would also offer this. it's okay for you to make regular donations directly to Harvest Ministry here.
Sure.
And I want to keep that on people's radar too, because when after Saturday comes, the need doesn't go away and everything else. And yes, that's going to help here. But like I said, constant need, constant. So if you want to get on a regular schedule, drop it off, even if it's just a bag of cans each week to the Harvest Ministries, they would be greatly appreciated. You come in there with your 5 cans of peas every week, they'd love that. If you want to do something like that. Again, it's 1 can. Everybody does their one thing.
Yeah,
Next thing you know, we got
yeah.
a heaping pile.
That's
of
crazy.
stuff.
You have 800 stops.
Yeah, 800. We serve each route serves quite a bit. Yeah,
right.
We have 800. Yeah, every route averages between 500 to 1,000 customers, and we have 30 routes, 30 plus routes in our city. So so you know that adds up.
Right. Well, and here's the thing that gets me, and this is the part where I'm kind of because, and maybe I'm wrong, but. Like, aren't you guys part of the sorting and place? So you just don't roll in, grab your truck, and go. Like, you've got to sort 800.
I know a lot of people. I didn't realize that. First of all, I didn't realize you work every weekend. That was another thing you don't realize. But no, when you walk in, your packages are all sorted to your route by the clerks, and then the mail is actually sorted out to a point. Most of the letters, we call them the letters and the flats.
Yeah.
Most of the letters are computer, like DPS. It's computer generated. It's all in order.
Gotcha.
But then you also have a big handful, sometimes a whole ledge full of letters that you manually had to sort and put in little coveys at your case.
Gotcha.
Then all the magazines that we actually put in place too. And then we get all our packages we call them spurs. They're the little packages, like, for example, little Temu, little Amazon packages that aren't quite packaged.
Right. So
you have to you have to put those in order, and then once you do all that, you take it all your case, and then you load up your truck according to the zones on your route. So every route has like 5 or 6 zones. Then you have to load up your truck in that order, and then you go out and deliver
the 800.
Yeah, and make sure you don't forget packages while you're out there, while you're delivering. Oh man, I forgot that.
That's the part that got me. I was like, wait a minute.
And
my route just started their day hitting the 800.
And my route's one of the easiest routes too. And I have an easy route.
So you seniority rank has its privileges,
yeah,
right?
it does.
It's good to be the
king. But yeah, average packages on these routes. My average package is on like 40 or 50, but some of these routes get over 150, 200 a day. Wow. And on top of all the mail, 2,000-3,000 pieces of mail.
Think about all that next time you don't leave a Christmas tip.
Yeah, that's a lot of work they do. And try not to misdeliver that. Try to make sure you're on time. And there's a lot of work that involves. And then we're always hiring.
About to say, and
we're always hiring.
But let's just face it. Good benefits. Good. It's a stable job. It's a family.
Yeah, it's a tough job, but
family,
for
but
sure.
you can raise a family on this job.
You can. I did. Yeah, so you really can.
Here. So, but letter carriers do work. They work hard.
Mm-hmm. And big, like I said, big shout out to them and thank you. Roswell, all the carriers out there, we really appreciate you.
I think the fun part of your day is just getting in the truck and driving around town. That's probably the fun part.
It's always fun. The best time of the day is when you're leaving the office. That's what I tell everybody. You're out there. You're on your own. When the weather's really nice in Roswell, we do have our days, but overall, 70-80% of the time it's beautiful out here.
So I gotta ask, how long did it take to get used to driving on the wrong side of the vehicle?
You know what? Everybody says that. It took a little while. Well, in my personal vehicle, every day after work, I would be going in the wrong. Yes, I would do that. And let me tell you, it's been almost 20 years I've been there. And
still do it.
Once a year, I'm like, hey, that's not the right side. But it's still it feels the same. It's no different to me. But like I said, I've been doing it almost 20 years. So you definitely get used to it.
If you ever work for the Australian Postal Service or the British Postal Service, you probably wouldn't have, you'd be just like everybody else.
Yeah, right. I wonder if they do it on the opposite side.
You know what? I bet because of the way the roads are
the roads are
they're
different.
Right on our side.
Yeah, so they probably do it differently than us.
Which side's really the right side?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Exactly. Well, I remember, and real quick, there's nothing, and we got to go, but when I was in Boy Scouts, I did get to go to Australia for a World Jamboree, and exactly what you said. We literally got out of the airport, did the thing, and there's a big bus for all the kids to pile in. And so we all line up to where a bus door is, and there's the driver sitting there going,
those Americans.
That's when I also learned that because of gravitational pull, the water in your toilet spins the other way when you're south of the equator.
Yeah,
I saw that
yeah,
like
that's
5 minutes
different.
before firsthand. Everyone's like, "What's going on?" Everyone this don't look right. The water's spinning the other way, and literally there's 10 scouts looking at toilet water like we just saw, like the Titanic, or just this amazing thing. There's literally 6 kids looking at a toilet in a bathroom.
You know, all the years I lived on the equator in Africa, I never thought to look and see which direction it goes. If you're right on the equator, which way?
Right. What's the thing? It just stays. It just goes straight down. But to remind everybody once again, this Saturday, May 10th, is the this year's annual United States Postal Service letter carriers stamp out food drive to collect food here. Once again, Harvest Ministries is the partner organization that's going to receive hopefully tons and tons of food that you bring to us on Saturday.
We're going to go for like 12,000 this year. Let's do 12,000 pounds this year. Last year we did like...
Our record is 17,000.
Yeah, we got 7. That was incredible that year. Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can challenge that.
That would be nice. Yeah, for sure.
But beginning, so whenever your mail rolls out on Saturday, you usually have a good idea. Make sure you get your bags and boxes and cans of
and double, you know, if you have a bag that's kind of insecure, make sure you double bag that, so that way it'll be easier for the letter carrier to pick that up and take it to a truck without it falling everywhere by the time we get to our truck. That happens quite often.
It does, yeah.
It's just like grocery shopping. Double up if you got the can with all the bag with all the cans or all the heavy.
Yeah, and just get a big old huge box. It's even easier. Just fill up a box.
And non-perishable, please. Cans, nothing that requires refrigeration or freezing or anything perishable. No breads, nothing like that. But things in boxes and cans and bags of beans and rice and things like that. That's all usually pretty good.
That's it.
There.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you have any questions about anything, you can always call the post office. But call Harvest Ministries. They'll be happy to answer any questions about anything. And while you're on the phone, ask about volunteering. Come on out.
Yes, sir.
I imagine if not, just show up one morning and say, "Hey, I heard about you."
Come show up. We'll give you the tour and show you what we do, and then you can decide if you want to and how often you want to come back and all of that.
That's right. And of course, United States Postal Service is always hiring too. They got replacements for me here.
Yeah, here a couple years.
So you probably go through probably USPS.gov or something through there, and you can apply for those jobs and stuff like that. So, do we get it all?
I think so.
Excellent. Well,
thank you. I appreciate you.
We don't have to see you once a year. You know?
No.
You can come in more frequently. It's okay. But thank you, guys.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right, 7:57. Let's pause for news before more news. Don't go away.
With your Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Sorello. Eddy County leaders are moving forward with plans to move the administrative complex and jail from downtown Carlsbad to a new location near the Cavern City Air Terminal. The estimated cost of the entire project is now pegged at about $350 million. Commissioners, after some pushback, though, decided not to move the historic courthouse. Renovation of the building is now underway in a separate project. Roswell residents are invited to provide input on the city's comprehensive master plan. Public meetings are planned May 12th through 15th. The first meeting on May 12th will be at the library from 5 to 8 p.m. Then all-day events Tuesday through Thursday, with folks invited to drop by anytime between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. to share ideas with the planning team. The event will be at the Community Development Office at 500 North Main Street. If you'd like to learn more, visit propelroswell.com. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
What's scarier than losing your wallet? Losing a USB drive full of all your private files. I'm Kim Commando for Oracle. Cut your current cloud bill in half and move to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Find out right now if your company qualifies at oracle.com/Kim. If someone finds your USB, they can plug it in and see everything unless you've locked it down. That's where VeriCrypt comes in, and it can make your USB drive self-destruct. This free tool encrypts your entire drive with military-grade protection. Plug it in without the password, all they see is scrambled nonsense. Here's the insider trick. VeriCrypt lets you create a hidden vault inside the encrypted drive. You can keep your real secrets buried deep, invisible even to some forensic software. Want to go full secret agent? Set that USB drive to automatically erase itself after a certain number of wrong password attempts. Risky, but powerful. Grab VeriCrypt right now with some helper links at my website. That's commando.com. There's a growing expense eating into your company's profits. It's your cloud computing bill. You may have gotten a deal to start, but now the spend is sky high and increasing every year. What if you could cut your cloud bill in half and improve performance at the same time? Well, if you act by May 31st, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure can help you do just that. OCI is the next generation cloud designed for every workload, where you can run any application, including any AI projects, faster and more securely for less. In fact, Oracle has a special promotion where you can cut your cloud bill in half when you switch to OCI. The savings are real. On average, OCI costs 50% less for computing, 70% less for storage, and 80% less for networking. Join today's innovative AI tech companies who upgraded to OCI and saved. Offer only for new U.S. customers with a minimum financial commitment. See if you qualify for half off at oracle.com/Kim. That's oracle.com/Kim.
But we've been talking, and it's not a question of like pride. Somebody said, "Oh, who made the call? Who made the calls?" It doesn't matter. I will tell you, you would have been happy if I gave you the answer to that. But it doesn't matter. The conversation matters, not how it got set up.
The president spoke this week with the Salem radio network about trade and other issues. The meetings in Switzerland could offer an opportunity for both the U.S. and China to dial down the rhetoric. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says that it is unsustainable to go on the way it is. They are working hard, though, to reach a deal. The process could take some time. The Cardinals of the Catholic Church taking some time as they have not yet elected a successor to the late Pope Francis. Here's Karen Chamis.
Cardinals are meeting in a secret conclave for a second day. The conclave opened on Wednesday afternoon, but a first round of voting resulted in black smoke billowing from the Sistine Chapel.
That is Karen Chamis reporting. 2 more rounds of voting are possible throughout the day today. Bill Gates says he'll donate 99% of his remaining tech fortune to the Gates Foundation. That would be worth an estimated $107 billion today. He also announced the foundation will now close in 2045. That is earlier than previously planned. More of these stories at townhall.com.
From the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
A Brooklyn, New York juvenile now under arrest for making a series of threats against the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District in Texas.
14 agencies collaborated over a 3-month investigation to bring the suspect into custody. The threats that began in January included multiple hoax calls, threats on Instagram and TikTok messages directed at a family member of a Robb Elementary School victim. There were also threats sent to Uvalde students through social media platforms. In addition to the threats aimed at Uvalde, the suspect has admitted to making similar hoax calls to Edgewood ISD schools in San Antonio and to a school in Broward County, Florida. Tasha Stevens reporting.
A new Virginia law signed by Governor Glenn Youngkin imposes time limits on children's social media usage. It's all part of an effort to reduce their screen time each day. It's called the Virginia Consumer Data Protection Act. Under it, children below the age of 16 will be restricted to 1 hour per day per app. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Those real ID requirements for flying within the U.S. are now in effect as of yesterday. The TSA Federal Security Director for New Jersey, Thomas Carter, says there's a good reason why we need those new requirements.
After 9/11, the 9/11 Commission convened, and one of their key recommendations was to improve identification of those using the air transportation network. And so this Real ID Act was signed in 2005. We've been endeavoring to launch it since then.
The TSA Federal Security Director for New Jersey, Thomas Carter. Europe is marking one of its most joyous days in history, the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II on the continent. was kicked in local time today. Hitler's Nazi Germany had finally surrendered on May 8th of 1945 after a half a decade of invading other European powers and propagating racial hatred, especially against Jews. You'll find more of these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travelation, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2. The Deuce of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Ah, yes. A beautiful one starting out.
A little overcast here, but sunny, and we do have rain chances today.
Which,
like from 3 to 9, according to the weather people. And here's the thing, folks. Everyone's been saying weather. You know who's been more right over the last week? National Weather Service.
Yeah.
They're spot on nailing it. Like the other day, they said it was going to rain between, what was it, noon and 3, and by golly, rain between noon and 3.
Now, do you think that they do it the way that they do it so that, because I've seen how they're like isolated showers and thunderstorms before noon, then isolated showers and thunderstorms from noon to 3. Showers and thunderstorms persist from 3 to 5. You think they do it so they're like, yeah, we nailed that window right there?
Possibly, but that particular day, despite the word salad, it narrowed it down to saying it was going to rain between noon and 3. And guess what? About 1 o'clock, it rained the cats and dogs for a minute. And so I'm not going to say, I'm just saying, I've seen the other reports and everyone's numbers. National Weather Service usually, at the end of the day, are usually the closest to being right.
This is a house of learned doctors.
That's right.
Weather doctors.
They've gone to School of Hallmark to write these weather forecasts.
I got to imagine that's one class when you're going to like meteorology school. There's got to be like a class about like writing reports, like how to word it, like how to not sound redundant.
Right. How many different ways we could use the word rain?
I had this English professor when I was, and I could say professor because the 3 years I actually went to college, never graduated, but it was my English 102, I believe, professor. And she was just this crotchety old lady. Like she would just but she used to, the thing that she would always write on my page was W/R. Wordy and redundant. It was wordy and it was redundant. And look at that, I became a DJ.
I'm about to say.
You learn where your strengths are.
I'm wordy and redundant.
I made a career out of it.
By the way, not a bad band name. Wordy and redundant.
Wordy and redundant.
Like, you'd have to be more like a comedic a la Stacy's Mom, that style of music to pull it off. But you could.
But you got a built-in logo, W/R.
That's right.
It's the literary known
and
symbol.
I think you're going to get a bunch of young people that have probably seen that on their papers as well.
Right.
Like, you might start your whole, you might get a whole high school, young college, movement of fans.
Yeah.
I just got to figure out some music. I got the name and the marketing done for you.
Band names can come from anywhere. People chuckle when, you find out the origins of the band Fall Out Boy.
Yeah.
It's the sidekick of Radioactive Man, the superhero from The Simpsons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, names are, to be honest, there is a reason for the name Pearl Jam, and it's not what you think it is.
Yeah, it's something entirely different, but people have equated it to.
Yeah, but there's a thing, and yes, you're right. Hearing the story, because I'm again, you know me, I'm a mark for everything behind the scenes, and so when they tell me these stories, and like I was fascinated about one story one time where the lead singer for System of a Down, and you've heard their style of music, everyone knows you haven't. It's very it's metal, but it's kind of and so he uses a lot of words and kind of he's very flowy with his words. And I remember reading some interview about him, and who was it? It was some legend like an Elton John type or something. He's having a conversation with, and he's literally having trouble finding the right next phrase to get to the next thing to make it all gel together. And they literally, guys said, go grab that dictionary and just randomly pick out a word. And he did. And put it this way, there's a whole line from Chop Suey that's credited because they literally just grabbed a dictionary off the shelf.
That's
to
See,
fill that void.
These lyrics aren't as deep as you thought they were, are they? Now, granted, why don't princes fight the war? Why do they always send the poor? That's some poignant lyricy, but yeah,
I love those stories.
You ever see it's a TikTok or a YouTube short, and I can't remember the name of the specific name, but the guy calls it the cheese of destiny. He has a piece of Swiss cheese, and he slaps it down on a random page of a book, and he'll just read the words that are circled in the cheese, and usually it makes sense. I'm sure he does this like 1,000 times.
Right.
But the ones that he shows, they make sense. He'll ask a question, and he'll slap the cheese down, and it'll answer the question. So that's always fun. There's many different ways to come up with a band name.
I mean, to be honest, it's no different than Super Bowl picks, where they have the chicken pick the Super Bowl winner or some random animal or whatever it is or something. Music sometimes is that too,
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Just throw stuff against a wall, see what sticks.
It always makes me laugh when like some of the most iconic deep things from, say, my generation are talked about, and then we get the behind the scenes and like, oh yeah, we were in a closet drunk and something, you know what happened was we had an urn that fell from a thing and it's caused this, and we all looked and then you're like, man, I thought it was way deeper than that.
Toby Keith has a song, the late great Toby Keith, may he rest in peace, has a song called Should Have Been a Cowboy. It's one of his biggest, most well-known songs.
I think most people have heard
people
of it.
who aren't even country fans know this song.
Yeah, you've heard of that one.
And he wrote it in 22 minutes in a bathroom.
Yeah. I hear those. Sometimes the hits literally come to them like that. And then other times they've been, they micromanage it and finagle it for years before it's ready.
Yeah. Certain songs just are birthed and certain ones have to be crafted.
But I will say, generally speaking, if you take the annals of history of great songs and you go behind and kind of compare stories, 9 times out of 10, most of them kind of came off in a whim real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very few of the ones that were massaged and meticulated for years are the hits. It's usually the one that just organically happened and bam, it worked.
That's why I always love Guns N' Roses, random stories of like, oh, I was just, we were just all kind of sitting there, and Slash comes out with this, with this guitar, this line or guitar riff, and I'm like, and so I started rolling with it, and that's how Sweet Child of Mine was created. It was just off of that riff that.
Speaking of Enter Sandman, I've been seeing a lot of that one lately.
Yeah.
Same kind of deal. I remember catching an interview, and I think it was on Howard Stern years ago. They were on, and they explained how the Enter Sandman riff started. It all started with Kurt Hammett. He came in one day with, "I've got this," and then Lars literally came in and said, "Okay, I like that, but do this part twice and this instead," and then And after that little conversation, it turned into the Sandman riff that you hear today.
You're a Metallica expert, so you might actually be able to answer this question. Was "We're Off to Never Never Land" the original concept line?
I don't know. I've never heard anybody talk one way or another about that.
Okay, so here's how I heard it. This is maybe I came up during the Satanic Panic. My parents were very much into that, or my dad was. So this could be how I heard it. But I heard originally that the line was, "Satan's reign has now begun." And then that they changed it because it wasn't commercially viable or sellable.
Maybe. I've never heard that story, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I've never heard. But I got to be honest, Often Never Neverland sounds more like Metallica and James Id than Satan is because that's not how.
And that's always what I kind of thought.
James is not that style.
And I've had that like dwelling in the back of my head for years. I'm like, I wonder if that really is the thing.
You know what is with James? It makes sense because this is the one thing that Metallica is worthy of. You should mock because it's funny.
Okay.
Listen to Metallica lyrics. Hetfield writes and says things like, "It's time to illuminate, procrastinate, discriminate, plate food." You know, he sings like that.
Right.
And then I literally saw a thing a couple years ago that they were like in his office and everything, and he's literally got a book that's like he writes synonyms for things. And so I think that's his jam. He literally tries to work that kind of stuff.
He's the Reverend Jackson of the metal world.
And he's got notebooks of just synonyms of this to create that, to do that. And he works them into his lyrics.
For those who don't know, go back and try to find the In Living Color NAACP sketch.
Yes.
It's
the college fund.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite sketches of all time. You got to educate.
Yeah.
And demonstrate.
It actually is more than that, but most of it's not family friendly.
It's definitely not. No,
but it's funny.
There's a lot of things we cannot say on the radio.
It just made me laugh because when you mock James or do the whole, that's the between the ooh yeah yeahs and it's the discriminate, consolidate, and he just uses words like that. And every one of them Metallica songs, they usually have a little section of that somewhere.
I like because they're all getting older. I like the idea of an older James Hetfield with glasses on the end of his nose, looking through a thesaurus. It's a fun image for me.
Yeah, they're in the 60s now.
The running joke, and this is the low hanging fruit, but their actual name is Metallic. And Hetfield's just been saying Metallica for years.
Yeah. No, because you can't make the age. But anyway. Yeah. All right, let's move on. We do have Scouting America folks, yes. Bobby Arnett, Victoria Arnett joining us. We're going to talk about their, of course, Memorial Day weekend. The Scouts here in our community have always had a tradition for many years of going out to South Park Cemetery and on Memorial Day weekend and placing flags on the graves of veterans throughout our cemeteries here.
Yep.
And so that time of year is coming up again, so they want to talk a little bit about that, invite the public to come out because, quite frankly, there's a lot of graves that need flags, and many hands make less work. So we would love the community and the public to come out and join the Scouts as they do this endeavor each and every year. So
absolutely.
We'll talk about that with them here in just a bit. We'll also get you up to date with the news is of the local variety. I'll try to pay more attention on other stuff. I've had a day here where I'm missing buttons. I don't know if it's like another Monday today, but I keep missing buttons. And I'm amateur hour this week. I'm sorry. It is 8:17. Bush League. It's Bush League around here. All right, 8:17. Here's your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Staying fairly cool today. Low pressure over the southern plains, but we're getting some return flow out of southern Texas, and that might bring us a few showers or thunderstorms. Mix of sun and clouds, and we'll stay in the mid-70s. Still a shower or two hanging around overnight, and we'll be in the low 50s, mid-70s for the afternoon high on Friday. Slim chance of a shower. Things look sunny and comfortable for the weekend. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 57 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 74%. Winds currently out of the north at 6 miles per hour. Like I said, rain chances today. We are looking at a 30% for this afternoon. They're saying after 3 today, we should start seeing some showers and scattered thunderstorms pop up. Mostly sunny for the day and 75 for a high, even though it looks, well, it's partly cloudy, I'd give it right now. Winds out of the north at around 5 miles per hour. Tonight, we're looking at a 30% chance of rain till about 9 p.m. So looking at between 3 and 9 p.m. is our best chances for rain today. Partly cloudy overnight with a low of 53 overnight. Northwest winds at around 5 miles per hour. Friday, sunny skies and a high of 76. Winds out of the north 5 to 10 miles per hour. Friday night, mostly clear. Overnight low of 51 with east winds 5 to 10. Looking at the weekend, Saturday, sunny, 77 for a high. East winds at around 5 miles per hour. Sunday, sunny skies, warmer, hitting the 80s, 81 on Sunday. And that kind of brings in next week temperatures, which will be significantly warmer. We'll be in the 90s for most of the next week. 92 Monday, 93 and breezy on Tuesday, 89 on Wednesday. So and breezy as well. So, but definitely warmer next week than what we're experiencing this week. All right, it is 8:19. We're going to take a 3.5-minute break, and then we'll talk scouting here on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Are you ready to succeed? The School of Arts and Sciences at ENMU Roswell covers a broad curriculum. The certificates and degrees offered within these programs will prepare students to realize personal, professional, and occupational objectives, from ag science and agricultural technology to behavioral science, biology, bookkeeping and accounting, business administration, criminal justice, education, and mathematics. ENMU Roswell can set you up for success. Register now on campus or online at roswell.enmu.edu. Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Success starts here.
If you're missing a tooth or several teeth, a dental implant may be the ultimate solution. Implants look and feel so much like real teeth that you probably forget you have an implant. Maupin and Brown Dentistry is one of New Mexico's most experienced implant providers, with literally thousands of implant patients who are absolutely delighted with the results. Call Maupin and Brown today for an evaluation. You'll be surprised how affordable implants can be. Maupin and Brown, your choice for experienced, state-of-the-art dentistry.
Interested in being an electric lineman? Central Valley Electric Cooperative is hosting a lineman camp May 29th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the CVE office at 1403 North 13th Street in Artesia. Camp is open to ages 17 to 22. Come spend the day with CVE linemen and learn about electricity and perform hands-on activities. Lunch will be provided. For more information and to register, visit cvecoop.org or call 575-746-3571. See if you have what it takes to be an electric lineman on May 29th at CVE's Lineman Camp. We hope to see you there.
The ultimate Wi-Fi experience is now available to you thanks to Smart Home Wi-Fi with Plateau. Get fiber-to-home technology 100 times faster than average household internet speed. Plateau has multiple plans and options to fit your family. With Fast, get true 100 megs per second download and upload speed. With Faster, get true 500 megs of download and upload speeds. And with Fastest, you get 1 gig. Learn more at plateautel.com. Get the speed you need with Plateau. Tried, true.
When managing a chronic illness, access to the right treatments makes all the difference. Artesia General Hospital's Infusion Center provides IV therapy and biologic treatments, so you don't have to travel far for care. Expert infusion therapy right here in Artesia. Call 575-736-8256 today to learn more.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and want out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our aggressive finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners, Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new loan. Subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires in 1 cent.
It's possible to turn peanut butter into diamonds. Peter Pan tried it with his buddy Skippy, but they couldn't do it in a jiff. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 23 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Eagle Scout Victoria Arnett and Scoutmaster and Dad Bobby Arnett as well. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate what you do. And yeah, Victoria's you're a super scout, right? I mean, you're an Eagle Scout. How many? Because let's just face it, females entering scouting is what, 2 years now? Maybe it's not that long. It's been.
I think it's 19. So
has it been that long?
19 or 20.
Gosh,
yeah.
I'm behind the times.
Probably
It's been
about 5
6 years.
years.
Has it been that long?
5
I was
years.
thinking
5 or
2
6 years, yeah.
But you know, there's not a lot of, not a lot of Eagle Scouts, but not a lot of female Eagle Scouts either. And so
yeah, right now she's the only one in Roswell.
Yeah.
We've got
you're the first.
in Chavez County.
Potential, that just need to, continue working and move up through the ranks. But right now, she's our only one.
Good deal. Well, I'm going to take a stab. You won't be alone for long.
Yeah.
But you're kind of, and you know what? And that's kind of an achievement. Like from now on, you kind of are a little mark of history in the Conquistador Council for Scouting USA or Scouting America now. At the very best, one day they're going to have a banquet, and it'll be 20 years from now, and and they're going to ask this is our first ever female Eagle Scout in the Conquistador Council, Victoria Arnett, and you're going to be there, and you're going to be old and wrinkled like us,
right?
And that's kind of a cool thing. I don't know if you realize that yet, but you kind of for better or worse that's going to be something you're known for the rest of your life. Here in Chavez County and Roswell, that's going to be, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But life happens that way. But scouting, and this is something. The main thing we want to talk about here is we do want to get the public involved, and this is the main reason we're talking today. Is every year, as a tradition here, Scouts in Chavez County in Roswell always go out to South Park and our cemeteries around town. And on Memorial Day weekend, put flags out on the graves of every single veteran that calls cemeteries home, or calls the South Park Cemetery and other town here home here. And it's an important thing. This is something. I mean, scouting,
right.
12 points of Scala. This is everything that is what scouting is. But we would love to get more than just scouts out there doing it. We would love to have the public hand in hand with the scouts out there here on the 24th, paying tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for us.
I think from my perspective, as far as community service goes, scouting and community service, they go hand in hand. I mean, every part of advancement requires so much community service. Your Eagle Project, huge community service.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the scouts, historically, that's just a big part of what they do. And the subset to that is that this particular community service is probably one of my favorite ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's every year. So you know that you have this community service opportunity that's coming up. So if you need hours or whatever, every year you can count on that we'll have this job out there. And it's fun.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It is fun, and it is it's cool. It's social. I mean, to be honest, yes, I know you're thinking, oh, my goodness, that sounds like a drag, going out and, hanging out in cemeteries and doing these things. But, it is fun. You do meet other people, and you might make a friend or two. But it also gives you time to pause and reflect, because you're literally walking in front of the markers of all these people that are no longer with us. And it's history in and of itself. I mean, you'll go out there and you'll see graves from long, long ago. They're not all modern, and some predate World War I. I think out at Memory Lawn, I think there's some Civil War or something that early out there. There's a few of those out there.
I'm almost positive that at South Park there's Civil War headstones.
Yeah, there's some stuff that's been out there, and to me that's as interesting as the moment and the importance of what we do. But take a moment to look at the markers, look at the graves. It tells a story, and it tells a history, and at the end of the day, that's why Scouts do it, because that's it's part of that service, but it's also these young men and women, when they're out there putting these down, you're hoping to say, this is why we do what we do. These are the people that, at some point, we're the generation that takes over for these people and things like that. And so it is that teachable moment for your families too. So I would love for the whole families to come out, bring your kids, obviously age appropriate about what you talk about and some of this stuff, but exposing your child to things bigger than you. This is what this event's about. To kind of to help, it's not all about what you do in your bubbles and everything else. And so it's much more than just coming out, hanging out, getting up early and then going out and placing a couple hundred flags on markers.
A couple hundred. It's actually 3,000.
Yeah, I was saying I'm lowballing it, but
it's about 3,000 flags, and that's why we also ask that people come out. It's enjoyable and it's necessary, but it's a big job.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big job. It's 3,000 flags. The Scouts are always out there. We have other community service organizations that show up and help. but there's always room for one more.
We always.
That's the thing is, last year so-and-so made it. Maybe this year they can't, so somebody new,
We need to keep, and it's tradition. Like you said, I think since the 80s,
Well,
Scouts here. Has it been even longer than that?
So, I don't know. I have been doing it since, like, 83.
Okay.
When I was in Scouts, we were out there.
So it's probably way older. It's probably been going longer than that. Yeah.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
But I know when I was out there as a Scout, we had fun. We're out there.
And I'm going to take a stab that you kind of had your family moments with Victoria and your kids and your whole family. Like, I remember Dad when I was your age out here doing this, and I'm sure you had that moment at some point.
Right. No, we've all done it. It's a family affair. My son, when he was here, his wife, they've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Victoria, obviously. In fact, whenever you're on the South Park, or if you Google South Park, it comes up with a few pictures, and the picture of her putting flags out is one of the ones that populates first.
Nice.
And I think it's been viewed, last time I checked, it was like 30,000 times. That
celebrity didn't even know it, huh?
Yeah, well, that's another part of scouting.
Yeah.
Is, she's also in the advertisements for Bitter Lakes. They ask the scouts to go out and look at the trails and whatnot.
Is modeling a career option for you after? Seems like you got already a book put together here.
Well, it's just through scouting, she's had a lot of little opportunities.
Have experiences.
Yeah,
well, and this is the point. This is why I sit here every time we're talking with scouts, singing the praises of scouting. Me as a child, I'm a product of scouting. I grew up. They didn't have Tiger Cubs when I started. I went right into Cub Scouts and did all that. But I mean, I'm a person that's literally, if you could do it in scouting, I've been adjacent to it. I got to go to a World Jamboree. That's very rare for scouts to do. I am an Eagle Scout. Matter of fact, we got 3 Eagle Scouts sitting in one room right now. And I too am an Eagle Scout. But I got to go to Philmont, which is a bigger deal than you realize. Most people here, because you have it in your own backyard, you're blessed.
Right.
That is the premier high adventure camp for scouting. And there's people from all over the world that come and make that place, they come to visit that place. But anyway, I got to do that, which is a bigger deal than most people think around here. And I got to, scouting, I went through Order of the Arrow, I got through Vigil Honor, I was a chapter chief. I mean, I really, I served in many levels of scouting and everything I am today. I mean, yes, my parents helped and did a great job raising me, but as far as, my job in radio, how I talk, how I handle myself, the things I deem important in this world and what I hold matter to me, a lot of that has formed through my time in scouting.
Correct. There's so many leadership opportunities, with the patrol, the troop, and like you said, through the Order of the Arrow. There's just, so many different ways that you can be in charge and help organize, facilitate.
Yeah. It's making children, preparing them to be adults, whatever they do. And that's the beauty of scouting. It don't matter if you want to be a model, a writer, a rocket scientist, or a business owner, or military, or whatever. Whatever path you want to choose, scouting will give you the tools to create a foundation that'll serve you well, whatever you do.
Correct.
And that's scouting. And that's it's the 12 points of the Scout Law. Be prepared. All the things that you know about scouting, those are more than just words to scouts. These are a lifestyle. It's a way to live. It's the way to be. It's the way to think. And I'm gonna tell you right now, people like Victoria and folks that have spent time in scouting, they're gonna be better equipped to handle things. They're harder to rattle, these folks, because they're prepared.
To give you an example, my son, Eagle Scout, obviously, whenever he graduated from basic training, he was automatically given another stripe because of the leadership that he had gotten through his scouting career.
Yep.
When he graduated, he was a stripe above all his peers.
I did the same thing.
Now he's at Luke Air Force Base, and he has been given so many awards for being a top performer on the base, including the top airman for the entire
airman
base.
Of the quarter, airman.
Yeah.
I imagine when senior airman comes available here, he'll be applying for below the zone, and I know that, but most people don't. But yeah, when you in the Air Force, there's an opportunity to get your senior airman early if you're a super troop and your commanders can recommend you, and you have to go to a board, and it's a whole rigmarole. But I don't think he's quite hit that mark yet in his career, but he's probably pretty close to it. So.
No, but it's definitely, his experience, his leadership experience through scouting has definitely paid off in the Air Force.
What is he? Just he was curious. Luke, is he? He's on the flight line, right?
He started out on the flight line, and he's now has a different job where he is like a quartermaster.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, the actual term.
I'm going to take a stab that, he's running. He's a very important person to pull. He's going to be, I'm going to guess he's the guy that all the mechanics get their toolboxes from. Like, they got to check in with him, and he's the keeper of all of the supply and inventory.
Right.
So, like, when the new person shows up and they don't know nothing, and they send the new guy out for K9P, they're going to see your kid, and he's probably telling them there's no such thing as K9P. Tell your guy to go do that. Or give him 6 miles of flight line.
He was on the flight line, and then he graduated to this job, and he loves it because it's inside.
Yeah.
And Luke Air Force Base
is hot.
It's hot.
But it is so important.
Yeah.
But I will tell you right now, when they deploy, he's going to be humping. Because guess who's got to pack all that stuff up, make sure it all gets on the plane, make sure it gets to where it's got to get to.
Right.
It's those guys. And there's a lot of work involved. So.
Yeah, he said it's huge responsibility, and there's hazardous materials. He has the log, and he has to dispose of it and properly handle it. And he calls and he's like, oh, you wouldn't believe the day I had to, he had to have something with hazardous materials, and they had to go up to the other side of the base, and he had to have outriders and stuff for whatever he was carrying.
Yeah,
like,
it's very
oh
meticulous. It's kind of, but yeah, I know because I was a weapons troop. I worked on the flight line. I loaded bombs.
Mm-hmm.
That was my job. But everyone on the flight line deals with your son. I'm telling you, because he's kind of the gatekeeper for everything. If you need tools, if you need anything that you need to do your job, he's the one who has it. Now, I know with like weapons crews, we have our own toolboxes, and each crew builds and creates their own toolbox. But guess who's holding on to it? We're not at work. It's the quartermaster. They're the ones. They're the ones that make the flight line go. It really is it's kind of an unsung hero job. It's one of those jobs that is one of the most important out there, but they don't get the glory of the crew chief or the pilot per se. They're but put it this way: every pilot, every crew chief, every super, and every pilot knows that they better take care of your son, because if they don't, they're going to have a bad day. That's the kind of job your son has. Right. Based on my personal experience here too. But again, Boy Scouts, scouting. That's what gave him the tools to when basic training hit, and they hit you that, and he's ready. He probably flourished in those environments because scouting gives you the tools to handle that kind of stuff and let you understand exactly what they're trying to do there. And once you do that, then things don't seem as weird or hard if you understand.
Yeah,
the point.
they're not micromanaged. It's kind of nice that this, what the scouts are given some authority, and then they can run with that.
Absolutely. And that's the thing with scouting, and we were just talking about this. Patrick was on yesterday talking about, by the way, Scouting America would love to invite everyone to their mommy and me for Mother's Day weekend. It's this Saturday on the courthouse lawn from, is it 10 to noon, I believe? Off the top of my head, I don't remember, but it was 10 to noon. And Mom, come on out with your kids. Now it's family-friendly. Dad can come on out, everybody. But they're going to do little crafts and stuff with families and kind of let kids kind of make some cool stuff for Mom for Mother's Day. They're going to have all kind of stuff. It's all free. Doesn't cost a dime. All you got to do is come on out. And but Scouting America here is inviting everyone out. It's Mom and Me, and it's 10 to noon this Saturday on the Chaves County Courthouse lawn.
Right. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
I think that's going to get some good traction.
Yeah, but we were having to talk to Patrick about that yesterday, and we were kind of talking about scouting and how it's kind of, as the kids, when they're young, they're learning the fundamentals of scouting. In Cub Scouts and stuff, it's more family, and they learn some of the base. But when they become scouting, those first year kids, those younger ones, they're learning the fundamentals of scouting, learning that, not only scout oaths and laws, but they're learning, the fundamentals, toting ship, camping, the skills that they need, that every scout needs when they go on camping trips and things like it. That's that first part. As they get a little older, then they start being in the leadership side. They go from the ones to coming to the events to start planning and organizing and the logistics of the event. At the end of the day, the adults are in the room to keep the kids from blowing the place up. That's kind of the idea, is the adults, they're there to be mentors but at the end of the day, it's your older youth that are running the show. They're planning the events. They're planning how the events are going to get off, what logistics are needed. It's your senior patrol leaders, it's your patrol leaders. These are 15, 16, 17-year-old kids that are really running the show.
Right.
And that's kind of, and then, you know, when they get a little older, not 16, that's when you can go into the ventures and exploring and that side of scouting where it gets more niche into what they're into. If you're into law enforcement or to nursing or to welding, that's where exploring and everything can kind of be your niche for you. So, but scouting, that part of scouting, it's the first part of the, but as they get a little older, it goes from them being really part of the program to be running the program.
That's kind of what we're seeing with some of the cadets at NMMI. Victoria is a student at NMMI, and her whole career at the school has been in leadership positions. You know, from her very first semester, jumping up to team leader to, you know.
Scouting's probably the reason for some of that.
Right, because, you know, when she was in scouting, there was a year there where she was the lodge chief, which is, you know, all of southeastern New Mexico, parts
it's a big deal.
Parts of Texas, you know, and she was the same thing, organizing events, banquets, whatnot, you know. And then she goes to NMMI and has these multiple leadership positions. And the other scouts that are there, we've seen them excel as well.
They kind of rise to the top here.
Correct.
Because they have that experience and everything. So I'm going to take a stab, not saying NIMI's easy, because it's not. But I'm going to say you were probably better equipped than the average cadet walking through the door for the first time. Am I pretty safe in assuming that?
Yes, last year, there were 2 TCs, the troop leaders, that were scouts, and then I was in regimental staff, and another scout was also the battalion leader, who was like in charge of all of high school. So all a lot of the main people that are in charge of everyone were all scouts.
Nice. So, but you all had that connection, didn't you?
Yeah, we were all friends.
Sure, and you kind of had and you had your inside game that no one ever knew, and y'all hit them with a scouting thing, and they all give you deer in headlights, like scouting thing. Especially if you're getting Order of the Arrow stuff, you know, you start getting into some of the because it's OA, that's something you can learn more about when you get into scouting. But Order of the Arrow is basically an honorship position within scouting. It is other scouts look at the best campers, the best scouters, and they say you are worthy to be in this other organization, and that's another organization, and that one it's not secret, but it's got a little bit more of the pageantry and things that aren't, unless you're in the group, you really don't need to know about it. But once you get there, then they do it. And that's what Order of the Arrow, but it's really an honorship organization within the organization. And when you get into scouting, you'll learn more about it. But it's kind of another
I'll give you
opportunity.
one more kind of insight into the scouting connection, which I think is just really cool. So there were 4 cadets on the NMMI campus out of the 660 or whatever the enrollment was this last year. There were 4 that were recognized for the Presidential Volunteer Service Award, you know.
That's amazing.
And they have gold, silver, bronze. So 3 of the 4 were scouts.
Scouts are excelling in other places in scouting. And by the way, and we're talking about all the benefits, and all of these things are very true, and you know, Victoria, she's already, you know, seeing some of that, and will continue to see some of that over here in the coming years. But scouting is also the fun side too. You know, you put into scouting what you'll get out of scouting what you put into it. It's one of those organizations, and I will tell you this: some people get involved in scouting and they're like, I'm not into the ranks, and you know, and they'll literally be tenderfoot the whole time, but they love the camping, they love the camaraderie, and they love all the things that scouts stand for, and that's okay too. Right. You know, not all of us are cut out to be Eagle Scouts or do all the thing, but you know, if you love camping, if you love camaraderie, if you love, you know, being involved in situations and fun things and doing things that you probably would have never had a chance to do in other circles, that's what scouting is. So I always want to say yes. If you're trying to, you know, punch those goals to achieve, scouting can help you do all that. But if you're just looking to meet people and to be some fellowship and hang out with, you know, scouting is that too. And I know so many kids, or now adults, that they didn't, you know, they were first class or they never got far in but the camping trips, the things they did together, the things that they still carry with them to this day. So not every scout is an Eagle Scout. It's a very rare number.
The way I look at it is the way I justify it is that I say that every activity that the scouts do, they add a tool to their toolbox.
Absolutely.
And when they get their Eagle Scout, that's like wrapping the box up. That's like the final piece to the puzzle.
Yeah.
But you're still filling the drawers.
Yeah.
Every camp out, every community service activity, every event for the church, school, whatever it is, that's you're just adding another tool to the toolbox.
Yeah.
And sometimes you make it to the end and you get the whole toolbox wrapped up and finished. But if you don't, you still got tools.
Absolutely. I mean, and this is the thing that scouting, it's the answer, the confidence, because you are going, I'm telling you right now, if you spend any time in scouting, you are going to test your limits at some point. You're going to get your boundaries pushed. They're going to make you climb a rock climb or climb a pole or do something and you're like, there's no way in hey, I'm going to be doing that. And you do it and you overcome it and things. And scouting was that for me too, because I'm a heights guy and literally when they send me to these various high adventure bases and I go and we're going to do rappelling and rock climbing. Wonderful. But I did it. And now,
right.
You ain't going to catch me on a mountain climbing today because but I did it and I can do it. And I said I can do it. And if push comes to shove, I know I can do that again. Now, I ain't seeking to do that, but I know in my heart, I've got the gumption to do that. And scouting pushed that with me.
Right.
Just because I don't want to do it doesn't mean I can't do it. And scouting gave me the confidence to know if I have to do it, I can do it. And that's what scouting is. It does push your boundaries, but it also shows you that you are capable of more than you realize sometimes. And that's scouting also.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of scouting and everything about it. So come out this Saturday. Come out May 24th. What time is everyone gathering here?
We like to start at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
We have an orientation. We have all of the flags are bunched up into groups of like 20 or 25 or something, and everybody takes a few bundles. We have probably like 30 of these metal rods that we use to
pierce the ground to put the flags in.
Yeah. To prep it for the flag, pop a hole in the ground, and the flag goes in, because otherwise it's much harder, So we've kind of refined it over the years, and it's easier now. And we've kind of got it figured out as far as, teams. You have one person's popping the holes, one person's carrying and dropping flags.
It's like an assembly line almost.
And you just walk down the rows, the headstones, and they're pretty easy to recognize because they all say, private first class, or there's some sort of insignia on the headstone.
Sometimes they'll have a Army, Air Force, whatever logo on it or something. Every veteran's grave has something that will signify that it is a grave, whether it'll say Veteran Direct or it'll say U.S. Army or U.S. Navy, or it may have a medallion or something.
Right. So what we're suggesting is, bring a friend. Groups of 2, 3 is fantastic.
Yeah.
Somebody to carry the flags, somebody to drop it in the hole, somebody to, pop the hole. We'll have water, maybe some donuts. And it usually, if we get enough people, it actually goes pretty quickly. 3,000 flags it sounds like a lot, but if you get a bunch of people,
you're done in a few hours.
It goes pretty quickly, yeah.
And it's again, many hands make less work here,
and it's enjoyable. The grounds are nice, and you're doing you're doing the right thing, and you do have that reflection while you're walking. You can be considering what happened to these people.
Absolutely.
And,
it reminds you the world is bigger than you sometimes.
Correct. It's really, really enjoyable. Like I said, it's one of my favorite community service things that we do. And it's consistent because I've been doing it since the 80s.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Yeah. It's definitely, it's just tradition at this point. And you're like, this is what we're supposed to do. And it feels right. And then if you've never done it before, like you said, Bobby, you're thinking about your own place in this world and how you do and things and it's not all about you. It's great. I say I like this as teachable moments for kids, but there's a lot of teachable moments for we as adults while we're out there too. And so please make it come in that spirit. Come in, yes, it's a service thing. And by all means, if kids need hours for service project, it checks all those boxes. But I would love for you to come out and then spirit and the reason on why we do this. Spend that day, why we celebrate Memorial Day, what's the importance of that. And, use that as a day to kind of be that teacher or be the student yourself and learn some of this stuff.
Right. And, in anticipation of this event, the Scouts have already been out there to the cemetery to pick up trash.
Good deal. Kind of cleaning up.
We were out there 2 weeks ago. We spent some time with Keep Chavis County Beautiful to get especially the veterans part of the cemetery cleaned up, and we got tons of bags of trash. So it'll look nice. We've already picked up the trash, and then we'll be there Memorial Weekend to put out the flags.
And again, if folks want to serve, you can do this too. Get out there and serve and be a part of this. But this is scouting. This is what scouting. When we the 12 points, and like you said earlier in this conversation, it's a service organization. This is every scout. Yes, we're growing and shaping and forming these young men and women into adults. That's kind of part of the day job. But we are a service organization. We're here to serve the community. We're here to serve each other. We come out and put it this way: if there is a project that this community needs work on, I'm going to take a stab. There's usually some scouts hanging out involved in some way, shape, or form. That's what they do.
Being in scouting as long as I have, just driving around town, I'm like, oh, look, there's the Eagle Project there, POW Park, Eagle Project, Wool Bowl, Eagle Project. I mean, there's, the softball fields, Eagle Project.
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere you go, there's the cemetery. I think there's probably at least 5 of them that I can think of right now that have happened out there.
And fellow scouts, there's about 100 other projects that are needing on this. So if there's some life scouts looking for the Eagle Projects, I know there's a few trees you can bark up here to get. Victoria, just share folks with what was your Eagle Project?
It was actually at the cemetery.
Okay.
It was landscaping.
Okay.
Because the cemetery wanted to make a billboard for the veterans part of the cemetery to bring more people to be able to see it and bring more light to it.
Gotcha.
And they wanted some nice landscaping under their billboard that they could, to make it look nice, especially for the veterans part of the cemetery.
Right. It's a cemetery. You want it to look nice. And
Right.
Like a dump. Yeah.
So I had a bunch of meetings over there with them, and they told me what they wanted, and they said that there wouldn't be able to be a lot of water over there, so we'd have to, get plants.
You had to figure out how to navigate that issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they had a few different things, but they wanted me to just do some nice landscaping to make that part of the veteran cemetery look good. So I brought a bunch of my Crew 30 friends from NIMI, and we all went out there and we did this nice with red gravel and some big boulders, and we did some of those yuccas. Is that what it's called?
It's like a desert plant.
Desert plants.
That doesn't need water.
It doesn't need a lot of water. And it looked really nice whenever we were done.
Cool. And for folks, that's the Eagle Project is one of the major steps to become an Eagle Scout. And it is a project that serves the community in some way, shape, or form. But the Eagle Scout candidate must plan every facet of this project, from acquiring materials to acquiring the labor for said project, to meet the needs of the thing, to satisfy whatever goal they're trying to achieve. That from beginning to end, the Eagle Scout has to plan and plot and organize that whole process. And that's kind of and then at the end, they have to prove what they did, how they did, and show exactly what, because all the rocks and things, where do you get that from? You just can't cut a check and go do that. You have to get it donated. So you're hitting various places that have these things and saying, hey, I've got a project here. Would you be willing to donate a couple bags of gravel or whatever it is you need there? And you literally have to go door to door, hitting these things up, talking to your people and getting them organized. And that's what an Eagle Project is. From concept to completion, you have to really run and organize every facet of that project. So that's kind of like one of your final exams, so to speak, for becoming an Eagle Scout. Because usually after that, assuming you got your merit badges, all that, you go from a board of review, and then you're an Eagle Scout after that. So, but anyway, it's one of the biggest parts of becoming an Eagle Scout is that service project. So that's it for folks that aren't knowledgeable.
Yeah, it's very time consuming. There's a lot of paperwork involved. So that's the thing about scouting is you hear about camping, cooking, map reading. But there's also a lot of stuff like finance.
Oh, yeah.
There's personal finance merit badge where you learn about accounting and so when you're doing your Eagle Project, that's a part of it is you got to have the numbers. The numbers have to add up.
Absolutely.
You have to have, it's going to cost this much to get it done, and I'm going to get these funds from here.
Yeah.
And,
the unsexy or fun parts of a thing, you got to do all the facets, and they learn that kind of stuff. And that's what Eagle Scout. And And, it's funny you talk about finance and all that. It's just when we were talking with, and we got to wrap up here, but I was talking with Patrick yesterday, and, of course, they are looking for a few more staff for summer camp at Camp Wahenepe this summer.
Okay.
If you're interested, come by the Scout headquarters. I think they got Scoutcraft, the ecology, nature area. They got a few. But we were talking, and when I went to Scout camp and worked on staff, it's the same but a little different than how it is now. And one of the big differences is at Scout camps now they have technology centers, places where they're teaching the things you're talking about that aren't
STEM.
necessarily things you associate with scouting. And that's at every summer camp now, and including Wahenepe. Now, that's new. When I was a kid, none of that. You were lucky to have one payphone in the whole camp. That was about your technology.
Right.
Now it's a little different. So, but that's scouting. All of that is scouting, and everything you think scouting is, yes, it's camping and all the fun things you think of that way. But it is very much business, and we're preparing young people to become adults, and in all forms of life, whether it's military or things or the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. That's what scouting teaches. So.
Right.
I got way soapboxy here, but the point is we'd love to have you. First off, come this Saturday, 10 to 2, out at the Chaves County Courthouse lawn for Mommy and Me scouting. Free event, completely free. Get some stuff, have some quality time with your family and your kids. That's this Saturday, thanks to the Conquistador Council here. And then May 24th, and we probably need to get you back a little closer just to remind folks, last minute deal. But May 24th, that weekend, that's going to be the weekend that the Conquistador Council Scouting here will be placing the flags at all the veterans of graves out at South Park Cemetery beginning at 7 a.m. It is not a scout-only event. We would love the public to come out, bring your family, bring your friends, and we can get this knocked out in a few hours and come see this important tradition of scouting in Roswell.
Yeah, it looks beautiful with all the flags lined up and everything cleaned up, mowed. I mean, it's really a great time to be out there and just reflect.
For you photographers and artists out there will be some ample good opportunities out there too.
Correct. Yes.
Good deal. And so before we go, Victoria, I'm going to leave you at the last word here. Do a pitch for scouting. Talk a little bit. Kind of if you were to talk to someone a little younger than you about scouting, what would you tell them?
I'd probably just tell them about all the opportunities that it gives you.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of young people, they might think it's boring off the top of their head because they don't know everything that it does for you. But then whenever I'm talking to younger girls and I tell them that I learned how to sail a boat by myself in California, or I learned how to do all these different things, it really opens their eyes to how fun it can be and how you can make so many friends, lifelong friends throughout the way. But it also gives you different opportunities that you don't realize. Like when I went to NIMI, I'm trying to get ranks and I'm filling out my application. There's a specific box that says, "Are you an Eagle Scout?" And there's all these different things that being an Eagle Scout can hand you that you don't realize at first. And my board that I had a few weeks ago, they asked me what my values were, and I just told them the Scout Law and the Scout Oath. And I was like, I've been in scouting for 6 years, and before that, my dad and my brother were in scouting, so I've done this my whole life, and this is the stuff that I've always lived by. And I told it to them straight up, and their eyes kind of opened, and I told them, I was like, I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm the first one in Roswell. And it really does open a lot of people's eyes to the dedication, first of all, because, being in something for 6-7 years or longer, especially if you've been in Cub Scouts or anything like that, you're in there for a really, really long time, and it shows how dedicated you are and
consistency.
Yeah.
And you invest your own time and energy in it.
Exactly. And when you're a NIMI cadet, you do not have free time. So, to be able to get your Eagle Scout outside of NIMI while you're living there and doing stuff on the weekends, it's a challenge, but it was definitely worth it because of all the opportunities that it gave me for camps or anything that I've done.
Well, and it makes you self-sufficient. Whatever you want to do, you've got the tools to get it done.
And I do at NIMI, they have some different leadership courses, like the rappel tower and the high ropes course and all this stuff. And I'm one of the main facilitators, so I'm in charge of setting people down, making sure their harnesses are good, and teaching them how to do it. And I think that scouting taught me all that stuff and taught me how to be brave, because half the people go up there and they just go right back down the ladder. And they're not going to go do it.
But even giving you the fortitude to be that safety leader in that moment. Most people would shirk at that responsibility. You as an Eagle Scout embrace that opportunity. And that's what scouting teaches. At the end of the day, that's really, we could talk about the ranks, we could talk about all the different things, but you will just see a difference in people. They become more mature, more responsible. You just see people that just get it. And that's what scouting creates. It creates that. So come on out. I just saw the time and I'm over time, but come on out and do that. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll see you out here soon. And again, come on out Saturday. It's 9 o'clock. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico News and Progress.
One that will cement the relationship between the U.S. and the United Kingdom for many years to come. It is the first trade agreement to be announced by the president since he rolled out his worldwide tariffs at the start of April. Meanwhile, the president confirming talks will be held this week between the U.S. and China.
They want to make a deal so badly, that I can tell you.
And the meeting set to take place in Switzerland. Meanwhile, the president says he's open to possible exemptions on tariffs for goods that help parents with young children.
I'll think about it. I don't know. I really don't. I want to make it nice and simple. I'm not looking to have so many exemptions that nobody knows what's doing. We have to make it very simple, but I'll take a look at it.
And the exemptions in question would affect things like car seats, cribs, strollers, and other child care and baby products. There's new judicial intervention now blocking U.S. authorities from deporting illegal immigrants to Libya.
Attorneys for migrants facing deportation say in court filings, immigration enforcement agents have told their clients that they would be sent to Libya. 6 people detained in southern Texas were told they needed to sign a document agreeing to the transfer, and when they refused, their lawyers say they were handcuffed and put in a separate room. A federal judge has found the Trump administration cannot deport migrants to Libya unless they have a meaningful chance to challenge their removal in court. Ben Thomas, Washington.
Tensions heating up between India and Pakistan. The Pakistani military says India fired attack drones into its country, wounding 4 soldiers. India, meanwhile, accusing its neighbor of attempting its own attack as the tensions soar between the two nuclear-armed rivals. Things are booming on Wall Street in early trading, the Dow up about 250 points. More from townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals, too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Another protest at Columbia University and more arrests.
Dozens are under arrest in a pro-terror group Hamas protest at the campus of Columbia University. NYPD officers acting at the school's request entered Butler Library around 7:30 Wednesday night to break up the protest in the reading room. The campus newspaper reported about 40 arrests, the most on campus since protests last year. The paper reports protesters had tried to leave the reading room before police got there, but they were blocked by safety officers who demanded to see their IDs. It all happens as students were in the library trying to study for finals. Tasha Stevens reporting.
President Trump says it's high time the U.S. have its own holiday to mark the end of World War II.
The victory was mostly accomplished because of us, whether you like it or not.
The president yesterday declaring May 8th a holiday to commemorate the end of the war. He said it's ironic other partners in that victory do have holidays to mark it, but not the U.S. Breaking news at townhall.com. Chief Justice John Roberts addressed judicial independence.
At an event to mark the 125th anniversary of federal courts in the Western District of New York, Roberts noted the court's role as laid out in the Constitution.
Obviously decide cases, but in the course of that, check the excesses of Congress or the executive, and that does require a degree of independence.
And Roberts noted that independent role created a new power in government.
Strike down, obviously, acts of Congress or acts of the president. And that innovation doesn't work if it's not, the judiciary is not independent.
I'm Ben Thomas.
The Chief Justice made his comments at a public event in Buffalo, New York, the city where he was born. Roberts said an independent judiciary is a key feature of the U.S. constitutional system and very important to the functioning of democracy. You'll find more on these stories at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The demolition, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tres inviernos.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Yes.
It's you know what it is? I'm not used to nice things. That's the problem.
Well, you were raised Episcopalian. That's like Catholic light, so it makes sense.
But like this week's weather's been nice, and I don't know how to deal with it. I'm like, it should be hot. It should be rainy. It should be something.
Why am I not miserable right now?
Right. Like I'm like, why am I not reaching for a coat or trying to strip down in my underwear here to get cool? I'm not doing either one of these things right now. And dare I say, this feels like Maryland growing up a little bit. This weather is more like back east.
That's a pretty big statement there, buddy.
Just saying, this feels more back east than New Mexico to me. Right
soak
now.
it up, because
drink it in.
It's gonna be a long, hot summer.
Probably, like next week will be in the 90s, so enjoy it while we can. But yeah, this 70s thing this is spring, folks. This is what spring. When more people feel spring, this is it.
Yeah. This is
really spring.
This is what people feel in the other flyover states.
This is actually spring.
New Mexico's having true seasons.
And fall like this too for a minute. Yeah. The only difference is the leaves are falling. It feels the same. Everything's brown instead of green or browner, or red.
But now it's like a greenish brown.
Yeah.
There's a little more moisture in the air.
Yeah. So drink this in. This is what the rest of the world experiences, or country. When you're not doing it. But anyway, it is short-lived. Next week it'll be 90s and all that.
But shut up.
We do have rain chances today.
Yes.
Like a 30%, and the sweet spot is 3 to 9 p.m. this afternoon and evening. So
I like night showers.
Yeah, I love a rainy night, as the great Eddie Rabbit would say. It's a nice feeling.
I like them better than I go out 1 minute and it's sunny, and then by the time I get to the next thing, it looks like it's about to hail. That's been a lot of that lately. I go and I'm like, next thing you know, all of a sudden it got ominous real quick.
I'll tell you this. One thing that definitely makes you appreciate a storm's passing is not having your house attached to the ground. It really does sink in home. They're like, okay, good. This one's gone. We made it. We're not tipped over. It's a good feeling.
I think you should just unironically get giant straps and get like King Kong sized tent poles,
right?
And just strap it, throw them over your trailer, just leave them there permanently.
So you want me to pull a Gulliver's Travels on my trailer?
Yes, yeah. I think it would evoke.
Get all the little people in the area to come and strap down my home.
Well, while we're at it, you could put a top to it and turn your trailer into a shoe, and then we'll make it a tourist attraction.
Nice. I like it. A very long shoe.
Strap down shoe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely felt a little rumble. The hail was nice though. It was it created quite a little percussion show.
You're the first person ever said the hail was nice.
I enjoyed the hail.
I've never heard that statement before.
It's a weird. Well, you know what? Let me put. I had a roof over my head. I was protected.
It's nicer there.
It made me enjoy it a lot more.
And I like it when my car's in the garage too, because when I was sitting here last week in the hail, and by the way, I just bought a Jeep about a month ago, and I'm like, well, of course it's gonna hail.
But
I just bought a Jeep.
You're covered bumper to bumper for a while.
It don't matter. No one wants a new vehicle get hail pellets all over it. That's like
true.
Like, of course it is. It's like I can't have nice things.
It builds character, Michael.
I mean, don't build no character. I'm mad. I got plenty of character.
I've got lots of character.
I've acquired all the character I need.
Right.
I don't need any more.
That was always my dad's go-to growing up. Was when stuff was like challenging or it hurt a lot. It builds character. Dad, I've got character. Can you take me to the hospital now?
I'm a character. I don't need more character.
Playground equipment. That was a big one. I used to complain because I'd go to slide down the slide in the middle of summer, the metal slide.
Yeah.
And my leg skin would be stuck at the top of the slide. My dad would be like, "Oh, walk it off. It builds character."
Well, kids, go on over to Pioneer Plaza here, and you see that big slide thing? Your ancestors probably left skin on that thing.
Yep. You want to really connect to your lineage?
Or at least got second-degree burns off that bad boy. One or the other.
That was the common sound coming off that slide was the screech of people's thigh meat getting stuck on the slide.
When I was kids, we'd go to Cahoon Park, and the metal slides on the west side of the road.
Yeah.
My mom would dress me in like the little short dresses and cute, and then send me down that scalding slide.
Yep.
And then I'd get up crying, and she'd be like, "Shut up, get back up there."
That's right. You ain't lived in the 80s till you burned your legs on a slide.
And then my husband wonders why heat doesn't bother me, and I grab all the hot stuff.
And they used to put stuff for us to land on. I'm not talking about soft stuff. There would be like a sticker bush at the end of the slide.
Or pebbles.
Or pebbles,
big pile of pebbles.
Or my brother would just hide under the thing and scare the bejesus out of me, and I'd fly off the other side midway through.
Yeah, they don't know the slides of our yesteryear.
It's funny, too, because now they try to replicate the thrills of yesterday's toys, and you can't do it. Like, everybody who's our age has been on a merry-go-round in the sense that we thought we were going to die.
Oh, if you don't have bumps and bruises from your day at the merry-go-round, you didn't do it right.
No.
So over at the Inclusive Park, the one next to the Aquatic Center, they have this merry-go-round looking thing. It is so much effort to get this thing to move.
You can't spin it to get it.
You cannot.
Yeah.
I'm sitting. It takes. I think I threw my shoulder out
trying to get
some kind of spin.
They still have the. Oh wait, okay. Last time I was at Loveless Park a long time ago, on the west side of the road and on the other side of the Spring River, they had a merry-go-round back there. Spent many hours on that thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't. I know they have a metal setup, a metal playground set up at the park in Dexter. That one next to the firehouse. I do know that.
So I don't know if it got washed away with the flood.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But like when you pull in Loveless Park and then you walk across and then you go down, we used to hang out there with swings, merry-go-round. Stupid things
all
that teenagers did.
Yeah. All I know is back in the day,
destruction.
If you didn't we used to play like King of the Mountain on that thing and all that. It was like you literally, I myself have been flown at least 8 to 10 feet off of that thing into a pile of wood chips or something. I can at least a half dozen times.
We're going to get Billy from down the street. We're going to put a tie strap and a tow rope on the back of his truck. And we're going to wrap it around the thing. Hop on, Billy. Let's see how fast we can get this thing going.
Literally, it was, who could get on, stay on, and we tried to throw each other off the thing. That was the whole point, It was literally
you
King of the
walk
Mountain.
while it's spinning and you kick people off.
It was King of the Mountain on the merry-go-round.
There was always so much aggression with that one kid that was like chosen to turn it.
But I've literally seen kids fly 8 to 10 feet through the air before they land, exiting that merry-go-round.
And nobody ever asked, "Are you okay?"
Right.
Or it was always
Rub
like
some dirt on it and keep going.
perfectly horizontal, like they were flying. It was great.
Occasionally, some kid would dislocate a finger or something. It'd be all weird. Like, I better go home. And then they go home, and then they come back next day with some big bandage on it. Man, yeah, they did. That was kids.
I had that thought the other day, just kind of randomly passed through my head. Do you remember when you were a kid, and maybe this was just me, did you guys jam your fingers like a lot? Like playing basketball? I haven't jammed a finger in my entire adult life. Like, it stopped happening after elementary school.
As a kid, I got my fingers jammed in the car door twice. Twice as a kid. Never happened as an adult. Twice as a kid. Yeah.
But like when you were like catching a basketball and it was coming like hurling at you.
Oh,
You
yeah.
caught it and your finger would do that thing where it like locks down. And
I think part of why I don't get it as much anymore is because I'm not physical.
well, that
anymore.
could be. I can't remember the last time I caught a basketball.
My activity consisted of lifting cups to my mouth and going to the bathroom and pushing a little hard. That's my workout.
Now, hold on. I've seen you take walks every time you go get Subway.
I do. I walk to food.
I walk to food.
Yeah. I'll go to Food's house.
Well, that might be part of the reason I'm not jamming things in, right? Running around like an idiot like I was.
But like, yeah, that happened to Hunter. He was catching a ball or something the other day. His finger really hurt. I was like, oh, you jammed your finger.
Yeah.
And that made me think, I was like, I have not done that in
So I haven't jammed it by catching anything, but I've went to reach to grab something and like not been fully looking and like ran my hands into something and I'm like, but yeah, no, not like I used to in school.
Yeah, it's because we don't move.
Yeah.
It's like we used to.
It's the same. I guess the same argument of I haven't had the wind knocked out of me in like 40
Well,
years.
you
Well,
gotta-
that's because you have to move.
Yeah,
to
you have to do something to require physicality
The
to do
first
that.
time I ever had the wind knocked out of me, I swear to God, I thought I was dying. I was like, this is it. This is the big one.
Oh yeah.
And then my brother's yelling at me, "Shut up! Don't tell mom."
Yeah.
You're just like eating air, just trying to suck.
Oh
as
yeah,
much
you're really
wind as you
sitting there
can.
like, and for a full 30 seconds you can't do nothing. And then finally you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I've had a few of those.
That's the worst.
Yeah, and my brother, "Shut up! Don't tell mom."
I remember getting knocked out by a football. Like literally, we were playing just playing catch and goofing around in my friend's front yard, and I guess I dove to make a catch or something. I was laying in the grass and I kind of threw the ball, and I was sitting there for a minute, and someone said, "Hey, Mike, think fast." And I turned around, and a football clocked me straight in the nose, and it knocked me out for good. Like I literally, there was 10 seconds of I didn't know what happened. They literally hit "Mike, you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what happened?" You know what? No concussion protocol. We dusted off, and I think
walk it off.
I literally got on my bike and rode to the house 10 minutes later. That was how we.
I'll just be over here, spitting up chunks of my spinal column.
Not that I wasn't injured. It's just we were so afraid to tell our parents we weren't injured that we just did nothing. We put some dirt on.
Yeah,
moved
we're terrified of our parents. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
I still got scars from BB gun battles that parents just
When
don't
I
know about.
broke my thumb, my wrist, my forearm, and fractured up here, I didn't tell my mom for 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
The school teacher called my mom and said, "There's something wrong with your daughter's arm." And
are you left-handed?
No, I'm right-handed.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
Trying to ride in
yeah,
school.
I was like to have it happen on that arm.
And
I think
so
this
they
is why Gen
used
X people are
paint
considered
sticks.
hard.
They put paint sticks and duct tape.
Yeah.
And then when my mom got there, my mom's like, "You're lucky that those paint sticks are taped to you because I'd be beating you with them."
You look like the $500 man.
I did.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology, but I don't want to spend too much.
Yep, and that was my first introduction to Dr. Castle.
Yeah. But they don't realize that this is why we are how we are, in good and bad.
I was more worried about the whooping for what I did to cause that than I was the pain.
Yeah, exactly. I was more fallout. That was, what's mom going to do? What's dad going to do? Yeah, it's kind of, and because we know we're all doing things. We're all latchkey kids. They literally, summers, I literally would go outside at 8, and you ain't seeing me till the street light comes on.
That was the problem, though. It's like, oh my God, they're paying attention to me now.
Yeah, that's the problem. We don't want them to pay attention to us.
Stop
That's
looking
the
at me.
Yeah.
And if we came back early and they're home, they get salty. Like my grandma blocked me out. I couldn't even go in the house.
My stepmom did the same thing.
Outside, yeah.
Same thing. She's like, "You're like 2 hours early."
Yeah.
Click.
I don't have kids till 7 p.m.
Yeah, they locked me out. I couldn't get.
Oh,
I just want
those
a
were the
breadstick.
days,
No.
man.
Yeah. Can I get a pretzel rod? No. Get your butt outside. Play in the dirt.
Are you bleeding? Go out.
That's right.
Get out of here.
Rub dirt in it. It'll
Yeah,
stop it.
rub some dirt in it. Yeah.
That's how I grew up. So, Crystal Noble's here.
Yes.
From the
Yes,
Humane
by the way.
Society. Sean's been working on an impression. Yeah, almost got it down.
and also talking of it at the same time as myself. It's a real skill.
He's learning
And he's drinking
great.
water doing it. Like the ventriloquist movie, drinking water. Yeah. So, but anyway, Crystal's here to talk Humane Society with us. We'll get an update on all the animals and thrift store and all that here in a bit. Before we do any of that, though, let's take a gander at your weather. Like I said, it's spring this week, not spring next week.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Staying fairly cool today. Low pressure over the southern plains, but we're getting some return flow out of southern Texas, and that might bring us a few showers or thunderstorms. Mix of sun and clouds, and we'll stay in the mid-70s. Still a shower or two hanging around overnight, and we'll be in the low 50s, mid-70s for the afternoon high on Friday. Slim chance of a shower. Things look sunny and comfortable for the weekend. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 59 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 69%. Winds currently out of the northeast at 8 miles per hour. Today, like I said, there is rain chances. We are looking at a 30% chance of rain for this afternoon. They're talking after 3 o'clock today, mostly sunny, and 75 for a high. East winds at around 5 miles per hour. Tonight, 30% chance of rain continues, till about 9 p.m. this evening. Partly cloudy, overnight low of 53. Winds out of the northeast. Looks like around 5 miles per hour. Friday, and that's really it for rain talk. I don't see rain mentioned after tonight through next Wednesday. So sunny tomorrow, 76 for a high. North winds 5 to 10. Friday night, mostly clear. Overnight low of 51. East winds 5 to 10. Saturday, sunny and 77. Winds out of the east at around 5 miles per hour. That's about as perfect as you can get, folks. Sunday, we hit the 80s. Sunny and 81 on Sunday. And then by Monday, 92 and mostly sunny on Monday, 93 and breezy on Tuesday, 89 and breezy on Wednesday. So warmer next week. 9:21, we're going to take a 2.5-minute break, and then officially Crystal Noble will join us here from the Roswell Humane Society. Don't go away.
Have you spent a lot of time trying to whiten your teeth with no real success? Here at Carabelli Dental, we have a solution. Get that perfect smile you've always wanted with veneers. Veneer treatment is quick and minimally invasive and will provide you with a confident smile in just a couple easy steps. You deserve to love your smile, so don't let another day pass you by without calling us to start the smile design process.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental at the corner of 9th and Main in Roswell, or call 575-622-4455.
At Martine's Capital Cafe, come in and enjoy a delicious variety for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Try our burritos, huevos rancheros, asado, chorizo, sausage, flantas, fajitas, chili rellenos, quesadillas, enchiladas, sopapillas, and don't forget their award-winning green chili cheeseburger and so much more. Everything is prepared with the finest and freshest ingredients. Martine's Capital Cafe. Quality, value, tradition, and the most delicious New Mexican food since 1989. Open Monday through Saturday from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at 110 West 4th Street in Roswell. Dion's is homegrown right here in New Mexico and is the perfect place for team dinners, family gatherings, and all of your catering needs. Stop by our location on South Main and West Wildy, where you can feed 5 for $35 plus tax with a large one-topping pizza and a family-size salad. With Dion's, we make it easy to bring together your favorite people with your favorite food. Visit Dion's.com to order ahead for dine-in or for pickup. That's Dion's.com. Dion's, where great food and good people meet.
Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. That's a lyric from a well-known kids song. Along with Jesus Loves Me, This I Know, they are probably the first two songs many of us learned, especially if we started our life in church. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that fewer and fewer of our children today learn those songs or truly understand that Jesus loves them and that He continues to love them for their entire lives, no matter where they find themselves or no matter what they do. Wouldn't our world be a better place if every child were taught the love of God for them? When Jesus was asked what the most important commandment was, He stated that the first was love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. If we teach the children in our lives those two valuable lessons, along with how God loves them, they will have a great foundation for a good life.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
If you suffer from pogonophobia, you would not want to attend a party with the following people: Kenny Rogers, Santa Claus, Willie Nelson, the cast of Duck Dynasty, and 2/3 of ZZ Top. here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 24 minutes after 9 o'clock. And yes, Crystal Noble back officially here from the Roswell Humane Society. Good morning.
I am. Good morning.
Humane Society hat today, not
Yes.
Roswell Seed hat.
However,
today.
I have my worker bee shirt on.
That's right. It is well, that applies to many different
It
hats.
does. It really does.
But for folks not familiar, Humane Society is your home here in Roswell, Chaves County. It's a no-kill shelter. They help find families forever and pets forever connections here.
We do. We are the matchmaking services for your local pets.
Yeah. They are located on East McGaffey, actually right next to Animal Control. So
We are.
We always tell folks, if you walk in the Humane Society and none of the pets seem to kind of gravitate you, take a few more steps over next door to the Animal Control and find either way you're rescuing a pet.
Literally, a lot of people are so confused because Animal Control's building technically sits behind us, as to where many years ago, before they got their new facility, it sat directly across from us.
Right.
So when people come in our building, they think that they come in ours and then they magically walk through Animal Controls
Like
and then come back up.
It's all one thing.
They
Yeah.
do. And so when we explain to people, no, when you go behind our building, there's another building behind us. That's Animal Control. And a lot of people don't realize that we're not together. We are separate
two
facilities.
separate entities.
One's a city, and then we're a private nonprofit.
And at the end of the day, the Humane Society is a no-kill shelter. Now, Animal Control does everything they can to not do it, but there are times where they're choiceless on these things. And so dogs are euthanized over there. Humane Society and other entities do really a lot of work to try to prevent those things. But that's really one of the big differences between the Humane Society and Animal Control is Humane Society that's we don't want that to be their forever home, but there are some animals that are there for a long time.
Right. Yes, unfortunately. And certain breeds, unfortunately, it's nothing that they've ever done wrong. It's just they're not a popular breed in this area.
Sure.
Or their energy level
It's
is
not a Chihuahua.
Yeah. And ironically, Chihuahuas aren't even a popular breed
Not
to
anymore.
adopt. No.
Did we get over the
Oh,
Chihuahua
yeah.
fix?
Out of every 100 phone calls, I'm going to say one is asking if we have Chihuahuas.
Gotcha. Well, and now I think you got the problem the other way because they were such in demand. So people do what they do, start shooting out Chihuahuas, and now we got more Chihuahuas than we can do with.
I think there's 10 Chihuahuas to every one person in Roswell.
That makes sense.
But we
They're
have
cool dogs for people that like them, but they're yappy runts for most people. They're not usually most people's choice of dog.
Some people call them little rats. Some people call them footballs.
But some
they
of the
have
coolest
many
dogs,
nicknames.
But that being said, some of them are the most personal. I've seen some of those dogs that they got way more personality than some other dogs.
One of the little dogs we have at the house, she's part Chihuahua and 99 other breeds, so that's why she's called a super mutt.
Yeah.
But her Chihuahua comes out quite often, and it's hilarious because little dog syndrome, and she barks at the big dogs, and they literally just look at her like whatever.
Yep.
And just go about their business.
Although I have seen some big dogs that will bow down to the Chihuahua.
Oh yes, ours do, very much so.
They bow down, yeah.
Big 165-pound Great Dane listens to little 6-pound Chihuahua mix. She barks and he's like, yes.
The little
it's
dog
almost
thing,
like the yes mothers.
That's right. Some of them got the riz to get the other dogs to beck and call.
But she barks at them like a drill sergeant. When they're running out the door to go outside to go potty, she stands and barks so they each run out, and then she runs out after them like a drill sergeant. Yeah. She is. It's hilarious.
That's cool. But see, this is why we say it's good to adopt pets, because
it is. She came from the shelter.
Yeah, you make family life, if you do it right, which is what we try to teach people. When you do it right, that makes such a fun experience for your family. When you get, I'm sorry, when you have a dog or a cat doing goofy stuff in your house, and they all do it in their own, and that's the beauty of it. Whereas, yes, we have all these different breeds of dogs and cats and all this, but each one is unique in of its thing. And just because you love, we'll keep with Chihuahuas. Not all Chihuahuas are the same. Not all dogs or cats are the same. And you could literally have a dog, and for instance, like you guys were over at the house the other day, and we talked about our cats, and one of my cats is a gopher. And every time it wants
love it.
attention, it hops up like a gopher and looks around like a gopher. That's not the thing cats do.
No. So our little dog, I call her Mere Kitty because sometimes she looks like a little meerkat because she sits up,
Yeah.
she does the gopher thing, and then, like, if you're petting her, then she'll flop back with her paws like this so you rub her belly.
Yeah.
But we have my sister's 2 pit bull mixes. Sisters, same litter. Completely different personality. Our Great Danes are from the same litter.
Yeah.
2 complete different personalities.
Well, it's kind of like brothers and sisters. Yes.
Yes.
You may be, and you know what? There is common ground. There always is. But I'm going to take a stab that if you have siblings, yes, there's common ground, but you guys don't think or act or like the same thing.
No, so
Dogs are no different.
When people
Cats
say,
no different.
oh my God, pit bulls are the meanest dogs in the world. No, it's not the dog. It's the person who raised that dog and how they raised it.
Exactly.
Chihuahuas are more mean. I'll climb in the cage with the snarling pit bull before I climb in with the little chihuahua.
Yeah. It
They're
makes sense.
sneaky.
Animals are products of their environment, just like humans are.
Yes.
You know, and it'd be no bad to say things like all pit bulls are evil or are murderers. It's almost, I don't want to equate it, but it is. It's kind of a, like in the dog world, a racist dog thing to say.
It is.
You know?
That's just like
I mean, it's just
humans saying, you know, one specific group
exactly
is this way.
this thing, or it's kind of the same thing. I don't want to trivialize racism because it's not, because I don't. But at
It's
the end of the day,
speciesist.
assuming that all bull and unfortunately, there's people in the dog world, you know, prominent people like I love Judge Judy. I watch that show and I watch her ripping up and down, but that woman is completely off kilter on pit bulls. She's one of those people that says, you own a pit bull, you deserve every bad thing that you get. You have no business owning a pit bull. That's the way she talks about it. And she's a dog person. She's
Off
like,
with her head.
yeah, well, and so I love Judge Judy, but you're wrong on this one. Pit bulls are product. I've seen pit bulls that have saved lives, that are more protecting and loving of kids and family than most humans.
Yeah,
and that's what you're wrong on this. It's all about how you raise that dog.
It is.
Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, pit bulls and stuff, they were bred for certain things, and so so if you do encourage that behavior, they're going to take to it like a duck to water, because through the years of breeding and all this stuff, that's part of what they're doing is protection and the attack dog. But it's the personality. If you're talking, and that doesn't foster if you don't.
We were watching Mobile Patrol or something. John was watching on TV, and you know, they were talking about police dogs. You know, it used to be just like the Belgian Malinois and the German Shepherds.
Yeah.
Well, now they're implementing pit bulls into the police dogs, cane corsos. And I don't remember what the third new breed was that they were bringing in to be just the canine unit dogs, you know, whether they're searching for drugs or they're, you know, the dog that they released to go find the person.
Yeah, not all canines for law enforcement stuff are created equal or have the same jobs.
Right.
Some are meant to go after people, and others are trackers. They're looking for lost kids and things, or drugs. You know, it's all about smelling and tracking.
Right.
things.
So
Yeah.
each dog, you know, depending on what they, you know, just like us, when we go get tested for whatever, you know, if we test higher in mathematics, you know, we're more likely to have a job in the mathematics world.
Yeah.
If we test higher in other things.
But more than likely, you'll see like your labs and bloodhounds and those types of dogs, and those are the ones, just because by nature they're trackers. And
Beagles.
So
Do you know what beagles are used for?
Go hunting stuff out of holes and stuff, right?
Well, okay, yes, but in the law enforcement world,
Yeah.
they're to sniff illegal food coming in on cargo ships and airplanes.
Nice, because they just are tuned to that.
Yeah.
And so literally, like, and that's why, like, if you watch like movies and you'll see like if they're going for a party to hunt for a missing person or something, you always see like these bloodhound dogs and those type. They almost look like country dogs. Yeah, because those breeds of dogs are, now all dogs are way better than us at doing it, but certain breeds are just their noses. They're
hunting dogs,
they're
and
dogs.
basically the scent is what they're hunting.
They track you, and in law enforcement, and so but the pit bulls, I'm going to take the stab that most of them are going to be in the drug and protection side of law enforcement.
One of the canine units I think it's in Utah, actually has a pit bull that rides with him, And so when they're called to, go release to track and secure the person, he releases his beautiful pit bull. And I was like, oh, I want to pet it.
Yeah. I love, and every once in a while, if you ever watch that live PD show,
that's what we were watching.
Yeah. Every once in a while, they'll have a canine unit on there and they'll show them going to like
John's favorite is Shep.
Yeah, they'll go in the swamps or something, and some guy will be hiding in the swamps, and they'll release the dog, and the dog finds him every time.
That person comes out of the swamp real quick.
Yeah. Especially because they do a lot of Florida police departments in that show, and a lot of the Florida ones you see a lot of that.
Oh, and then we were watching something about the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guards now have dogs too, swimmers to go help.
Nice.
Like people that are like overboard or something. So the dog has its own vest.
Nice.
Like security vest or whatever.
Everything I've been told, you don't need to teach a dog to swim. That's instinctual. They know how to doggy paddle.
So the handler and then the dog go over, and then the dog gets one person, and then the other person gets another person, and they meet back.
Nice.
I was like, oh.
That's cool.
It is. So, breeds, different breeds do different things.
Absolutely.
But just because the breed is typically more in the aggressive side doesn't mean it's going to be. It's all in how it's raised and treated and trained.
Absolutely.
And
now that being said, too, when we talk about dogs and what's right for you, that's the thing is you've got to the breed of dog and the type of dog you select really largely should not factor in what you just like what you like to. I mean, sure,
your lifestyle.
But it's your lifestyle's more. How busy are you? Do you need a dog that's more independent because you're not home a lot? Okay, there's certain breeds that are more for that. What are you trying to do? Now, if you're saying I want home protection and things like that, yes, you want a larger breed of dog, but you're not going to treat that dog like a watchdog. Treat it like a family dog, and the protection part will take care of itself. You don't have to teach the dog to protect you. You don't have to be mean to you. All you got to do is make that dog your family, and the rest will work itself out.
Yep.
Promise you, because and I've said this 1,000 times, and I'm going to say it 1,001. I had a black lab sissy that dog would not hurt a fly. Would not. I mean, to be honest, if someone broke in the house, I think she'd lick him to death. I mean, that's honest the way you know what I mean? That's the way I felt. She looked such a good dog, but she was, mean bone in her body. And our landlord at the time years ago came through the back door instead of the front door, and this dog that I was like would never hurt anybody, I thought she was ready to go to war, and it impressed me, and I was like, okay, sissy, calm down. It's okay. I got her calm down, no calm. But a dog that literally would lick you to death was ready to go to war to protect me because someone was coming into the house that was not supposed to be coming in.
Well, I laugh because, we say little dogs are the instigators.
Mm-hmm.
It is very 100% true. So all the dogs can be passed out, crashed out, sleep in the house, and if Honeybee hears a fly buzzing outside and she barks, like her protection, all of them come from all different areas of the house, and they're standing behind her. And she's just barking, and they're barking. They don't know what they're barking at, but they're barking.
When you see those videos of dogs doing that, the only way that's achieved is through love and treating it like a family. That's how that dog is so a family member that it's literally ready to die for its family. That's how you achieve that.
Speaking of videos, so I love the videos where people post, they've got like a leg injury or something, and they're walking on crutches, and then their dog's mimicking their injury behind them. That's funny.
That is funny. Dogs are, but that also goes to the part where I think at the end of the day, we do start looking like our pets or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, I think that does happen after a while. And that's what dogs and cats do. They literally come to your life and they're your companion. Like my two cats, now, don't get me wrong. I can't go to the bathroom without a cat with me. I can't, there's certain aspects of my life that are not private because of my cats anymore. But that's the loyalty you build. Like Hannah, she'll, even when she's mad at you, she's always going to go through. And now these cats aren't protecting, and they're not. But I can just tell, they as much as they hate. But anytime I'm sick or anytime I'm like that, they're all laying on me, comfort. You don't see the empathy these pets have until you treat them like family members, and that's when it comes out. And that's when you see it. And they do have it. And I promise you, if you treat your pet like a member of the family, cat, dog, whatever it is, and be the loving. Everything you're trying to achieve with that dog will happen in tenfold. Protection, all that. You don't have to teach your dog to be a killer attack dog. It knows what to do when it hits the fan. All you got to do is build the trust to make that dog want to do that for you. That's why you do it.
You love them, you cherish them, you take care of them,
Yeah.
you nurture them.
Yeah, the dog has way kinds of instincts that you don't need to teach it. It already got that figured out. You know how to survive. They're much better equipped to survive than human beings are. They've got instinctual stuff. You're good there. When you want to earn that trust, is you show the love. You give it you feed it. You show the love. You have it part of everything you do, and then that dog and cat, to be honest, will be with you.
I've seen actually some videos where cats protect their households.
Yeah.
And it's obviously, towards, other animals or whatever.
Yeah.
But cats will become protective. And
Well, you don't want a cat attacking you. You're going to have a bad day.
Very
you may
bad day.
still defeat it, but you're going to come out battle scars. You're going to come out hurt.
You will. Speaking of cats.
Yes.
So all of the cats that are currently at our shelter are too small for adoption.
Okay.
So all the bigger ones have found their homes.
Okay.
And I have a ton of kittens.
But it's going to be a few weeks here before they're available.
Probably going to be a little over
So
a
people
month.
looking for young cats, kittens, hang out. Give us 3-4 weeks here, and they should be of weight to be adoptable.
Yeah, because they're barely at a pound. So they got to be 2.2 pounds before they can be adopted.
Is this just it's spring and that's why it's like that?
Really weird.
Because there's mating seasons and stuff.
Normally, we start seeing like tons of kittens in March.
So we're late this year.
We are late this year.
Maybe it's the weather.
And ironically, that's what I was saying. Kitten season came late because
Yeah.
normally by March, I've got kittens coming out of every orifice.
Sure. So it's a few months behind
It's
this
a few months behind this year. So normally this is the time of the year where the kittens are big enough for adoption and not barely coming in.
So look here in about end of June time frame. Or
I would say end of May, beginning
end
of
of
June.
May, beginning of June. Yeah, we're still in the early part of May. Sorry, I'm already canceling out June, May.
We have them. They're just not big enough. And so they haven't got their second set of vaccinations yet because they're not big enough.
Right.
So everybody's like, oh, you don't have any cats. I know.
We don't have any available. Now, here's the thing. If you go to the website, you see one of these kittens, you fall in love with it.
I don't have them on the website.
Not on the website
No, I
yet.
don't. Just because.
Don't want to get people's hopes up yet?
Yes.
I gotcha.
Yes.
They're just not ready yet.
They're just not ready yet. So their names and stuff are
But-
listed, but their pictures are not posted
Gotcha.
yet.
But keep checking back, like you said, as the coming weeks here. But we're ideally looking 3-4 weeks out before
Yes.
some of these pets will be of weight to be adopted. But that means hold on, because if you really want them, they're gonna, that will be a case, and show that you're really ready to be by telling them, hey, I saw this name of check in on some of these cats.
Once they all go up for adoption, I'm pretty sure they're all gonna still be just bouncing off the wall like normal kittens
Oh yeah,
are.
they're kittens.
Because they're like, hey, hi, meow.
Well, and this is the thing. This is and this is what they want. They don't want you to take home a sickly animal that's not going to survive. And when a pet is newborn and underweight, they require meticulous attention until they get to a certain weight and size where they can be more independent. When they're this little, they can't be exposed to a lot of stuff. They're very, very vulnerable species at that point.
They are, because they're still, at that point, they should still be nursing on their mom. And when they don't have mom to nurse on, the antibodies that they get from the mom's nutrients from the milk, they're not getting it. So they basically have a weakened immune system. So anything can make them sick. So we have to be cautious with vaccinating them because it is a live virus. So we're not trying to make them sick, but we're trying to protect them from what can make them sick.
Absolutely. And the other part is that no pet will leave the Humane Society unless it's going to get spayed or neutered.
Right. And they can't be spay or neutered unless they weigh 2.2 pounds.
Yeah, they need to hit a certain pound. The same thing with the dogs here too. And please be mindful of that when you adopt a pet from the Humane Society, its next destination will be your vet of your choosing. Even if it's already spayed or neutered, because city law requires that animal to be microchipped. And before you take possession of that animal, we need to know that that animal is being microchipped with that stuff. So the pet will leave the Humane Society and go to whatever vet you'd like it to. And that's smart anyway. Anytime you adopt a new pet, you're trying to establish especially especially if you've got a regular vet.
Right.
Come in there and let your vet do an overall health inspection on this animal and making sure, because Humane Society does their thing, but they're not doctors. And the doctors don't look, and they could have developed something between now and the last time a vet looked them at the Humane Society. So they're going to be there to get their rabies shots and microchipped and spay or neutered if need to be there. But that's that time to do all that. And then of course, it also gives you a chance, if you don't have one, to maybe establish a relationship with a veterinarian. Like
if
you
you're
don't have
a
one,
first-time pet owner and you need, to get establishments, this is the great time to do it.
Vets are just like your doctors. You want to have your doctor looking at your thing and your cat, and they're going to know the history of your dog or your cat, and they're going to know, that's why you do that. So.
It is. So speaking of spaying and neutering, the Colorado Animal Welfare League is doing another spay-neuter clinic at the end of this month.
Okay.
If you need the phone number to call them, call down to the shelter. We can give it to you. We have low-income vouchers that is income-based. If you've used the program in the past, unfortunately, you cannot reuse it because it's limited funding.
It's one time.
Yeah. It is. But if
that being said, if you need help,
call us.
There's other people and other ways we can find something.
And we will, if you've already used vouchers with us and we can't get you them, we'll get you set up with call.
Sure.
And hopefully they can get you done, because what they do is it's the spay, neuter, parvo distemper, and rabies all for one fee.
Oh, okay. And these are all vital.
They are.
You cannot.
It is now in the city ordinance that your animal must be spay or neutered, have parvo distemper vaccinations if it's a dog. If it's a cat, it's the RCP. They all must have rabies, and they all must have a microchip.
Yep.
And then the chain ban is in effect, and animal control is out enforcing, giving people, hey,
they've been doing that for about a month now here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Notifications were sent out. It's time. If you can't comply, then we're going to have to start going different routes.
And I know people, it's like the Real ID. Now you got all these people like, hey, what happened? I need to get to. They gave you ample notice. Like, they made this decision back in December. They gave you 4 months grace period on this. Not as big as the Real ID where you've had years, which gets me. I don't know, people like today, because the Real ID took effect yesterday, and I saw people from all over the country. Oh my gosh, I can't get on a plane because they've been telling you to get your Real ID for 10, 15 years now, dummy. I'm sorry. It's on you now.
I done faced that battle at the DMV long time ago.
Right, most of us here have.
Yeah.
But people in like New Jersey and New York, I guess, I don't know what they were thinking. They didn't do anything. And there's these people getting on planes and they're telling them, nope, you don't have a Real ID. Sorry.
So even if they have a passport?
Well, if you have a passport,
okay.
You're good.
Okay.
But most people don't, if you don't have a passport.
Look at me, non-flyer over here, so I don't know.
Yeah, if you got a passport, you're fine. But if your thing to get on the plane is your driver's license and it's not a Real ID, they're not letting you on the plane.
All right.
Yeah.
I do got some stuff for the thrift store, too.
Yes.
Children's books are $4 paperback.
Okay.
Wait, let me read that correctly. Yes, paperbacks, children's books are $5 for $1. So it's coming up on summertime, and kids are going to need a little bit of stuff,
Absolutely. And you could literally, build a whole library for your kid of books, coming down to the thrift store and do it for like $5.
Pretty
it's
much.
Really, yeah, it's really.
It's not.
Yeah.
And Abby spends countless hours, keeping it stocked and organized and, categorized. It is a little library, and she puts in so much time to make sure it stays.
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing, I think, who am I to talk, but me personally, I'm like, if I'm doing it, like when you got that kid that's of age where they're learning to read and in that move, it's really, to get them to love it and to do it, create the library, buy 50 books,
right?
Dr. Seuss books, whatever it is, doesn't matter, all various subjects, and you keep them there and let them read them. And like I know we love toys and all that, and I get it. I was a boy. I didn't want books and clothes. I wanted motorcycles and stuff. But you put enough books and then you read to them and everything, and that is how you A, develop the love of reading for these kids, but B, kids that can read early and know that sets the table of problem solving and the other aspects.
One of my favorite books as a kid. My mom used to read it to us all the time, and it was the Berenstain Bears.
Oh yeah. Which that's a whole Berenstain. That's a whole Reddit.
Yeah, I know. My sister's
world.
like, I was always told it was the Berenstain Bears, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And so now it's the Berenstain. I don't know.
I've never called it. It was Berenstain for me, but that's. I think they literally changed it on us growing up as kids.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Now I just forgot the other book. I can see the picture of the wild.
Is it Where the Wild Things Are?
Where the Wild Things Are.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
So, yeah, those were things, as a kid that I loved, because they had pictures, but it had words, and it was a fun story.
But when you're doing your kids reading to them or them reading at that age, that sets the table for the good.
It does.
So make it, use the thrift stores. Don't go into brand new books, And if you know what? If you don't find what you're looking for at the Humane Society, go over to Books Again. That's the Roswell Library's nonprofit where that's full of books, children's books. And then when you're done, donate them back, and all the money from there goes back to the library.
I was going to say, they sell those at the Books and More again, yeah.
Yeah, those are for sale, but it's very much like the thrift store. Very cheap, very discounted. So if you're looking to gather, if you don't find what you're looking for at the Humane Society, walk on over to Books Again and do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of places where you could get books for
to me,
minimal at price. So therefore, when kids are kids and they do what kids do and tear stuff up, it's not, you didn't spend $35.
Yeah, I don't care how rich or poor you are. I think if you're a parent, you at some point you need to walk into these thrift stores, go spend $10-15 on a stack of books, and then create a library for your kid.
I think so too. Also at the thrift store, they have a king-size bed frame. There's no mattress, but it is a king-size bed frame, headboard, footboard.
Okay. Is it just that, or does it come with some of the other furniture, nightstand?
Just the frame.
Just the actual frame. Okay.
And so they have a lot of adult diapers for people that are,
that need them.
They need them. Ironically, they even have for like the larger kids, like that might have like a disability that have to wear like the diapers a little bit longer in life.
Gotcha. Okay.
So not small child diapers, but like 10, 11-year-old, kids that are not able to get up and walk around and do stuff, that have special needs that need the extra help.
So kind of like small adult diapers.
Yes, pretty much. We're going to call them youth diapers.
There you go.
They've got a bunch of those purses. They've got a new setup. And so what they did was, instead of having like pegs on the wall, they made like a hanging rack system.
Okay.
And so there's now 3 rows of purses.
Nice.
Yeah, they made more room for purses, and I was like, quit doing it.
Feeding the fetish since 1982.
Pretty much. They've got all their swimwear out, so men's swim shorts, women's, kids.
Yeah. And then, those are perfect things to buy there, because literally, especially for kids, you wear them probably once or twice and they outgrow them. And adults, let's face it, how often are we hanging out at the beach swimming around here? Not once or twice a year.
And the majority of the time, we're not in swimsuits. We're in shorts and a T-shirt.
Yeah, it's usually once or twice a year. So, go buy it at the thrift store.
If you are in the medical field and you need scrubs, there's a ton of scrubs. Pants, shirts.
Nice. Probably all designs and colors.
Some of them are like the solid colors, and some have the fun, cute characters and designs.
So what if your office allows, pieces of, like, I always think of it like if you worked at Chili's or something, how many pieces of flair are on your scrubs, kind of thing. If your office is that, then they got you covered.
They have summer shorts for kids, adults, men's, women's. They have a lot of Western boots and a lot of Western decor. The whole, horse and wagon type thing. Mm-hmm. They have a replica, and it's probably about 1.5 feet, and it's modeled after the original, horse and carriage, and it's got the big white canopy over it.
Okay.
But it's being pulled by bison and not horse.
Interesting.
Yes. Very interesting. I was like, what is that?
I imagine that's some historical accuracy there, because, you got to move wagons, and, the horses dead or gone. We got some buffalo.
Yeah. They have some Native American stuff there, too, that came in with that. So I'm not sure if that's part of that area or not.
It sounds kind of rare, unique stuff.
It is very unique. They have a lot of pots and pans. So if you are getting ready to go off to college and you need some stuff, they got lots of stuff there.
Don't buy it, Brent.
Don't. They have
because
a dryer.
they're going to dog it up at college anyway. Don't get them anything nice. Trust me.
Nope.
It'll be broken 2 months.
Or less.
Yeah.
This coming Saturday, the entire store is going to be half off.
Excellent.
So furniture, whatever's there is going to be half off.
So you've been holding out and watching something. This is the weekend. You better click. Now,
it is.
Pull back of the curtain. You ain't spend a lot of money for anything in that thrift store. It's all deeply discounted, and every dime of it goes back to these animals. But like you said, if you want to get some more additional savings, this Saturday is probably your day.
It is. If anybody's looking for a new set of 17-inch rims, they have a brand new set.
Ooh.
They're in the box, brand new.
guys, I know you're all listening.
She's got them priced for $500.
That's
appraised
really cheap.
at $1,000.
I'm about to say they're probably worth double. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Learn and play kids toys. They have a lot of the toddler learn and play kids toys. Put the square peg in the square hole, round and round,
Yeah.
blue, orange, green. They have a lot of that.
Yeah. Grab them and probably get them. Like I said, you go pay $10-15 for one of these games at a big box store. You probably get it for $1.
I think they're like $2 or something,
$2,
but still.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she is going on a pickup today, and she's picking up 3 armoires.
Oh.
Anybody interested in armoires?
Coming soon. Got some armoires.
She's going out. I'm not sure what time she was picking them up today, but she told me she was going out to pick them up today. So she's like, please talk about them.
All right. So if anybody looking to do some, and y'all know, price an arm, even a cheap one is like $400.
Right, and these are made of wood.
Yeah.
They're real.
Yeah, these are probably a couple $1,000 worth on these. I'm going to take a stab
Mhm.
at. Yeah. So yeah.
And watching the DIY things, a lot of people, they're not using the armoires for the traditional use of it. They're repurposing it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are repurposing them for like kids' closets and kids' organization stuff. And
actually, we have one in our guest room, and it's literally a TV closet for my own little TV there, and stores trinkets and things like that. But yeah, it's an armoire that at one time was in our bedroom and used, and now we put a 20-inch TV in it for the guests in the guest room, and I think it's got a bunch of candles and knickknacks stored in it.
This is where we keep the secret
But
candle
we've literally had that armoire 15 years.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
A lot of, the original furniture is built to last. It
Mhm.
doesn't fall apart, and good quality.
Yeah. So you can probably get one at the thrift store here in the coming days for
a couple hundred.
something that's thousands of dollars you're getting for a couple $100. Yeah, exactly. So be on, and this is the thing. Check back every Wednesday. Just all the time.
I know. That's why I was like, I'm trying to speed
but
up
don't
and
forget,
talk.
Wednesday is new stuff day. They're closed Monday and Tuesday for restocking and cleaning and getting everything all purdy again for the next week. But on Wednesdays at 10 a.m., that's when they open for the week. That's new stuff day. We've joked and talked. The 10 o'clock club. I don't know if they've officially named that. We have.
Yeah, we
already have adopted them. But the 10 o'clock club comes out there, and they're there for new stuff. Come be a part of that if you're looking for new things. But come on down anytime Wednesday through Saturday.
Yeah.
And,
so also one of the things is when you walk in the door on the left-hand side, there's a big dry erase board. And so if she's having a sale that day, they write it on that board. So it could be jeans half off, or hanging clothes half off, back room half off.
Check back every day.
Kitchenware half off. So anytime they're having a sale, they write it on that whiteboard when you walk in. So if you're looking for sales, walk in, look at that board.
Absolutely. And then don't forget, if you want to make donations, call ahead, especially if it's bigger stuff, because there is finite amount of space on some of this. But they would love to take it, and they'll even help you come and pick it up and stuff. Like I said, they're getting 3 armoires today. And every time you make those donations, and every time they sell your items in that thrift store, every single penny of that goes back to the animals, whether it's paying for vet bills or litter or cleaning supplies or whatever it is that's needed to keep the Humane Society
If anybody wants to bring by donations, cat litter is something we're very low on.
So bring it, and again, as we say every time, don't buy the expensive stuff.
No, just the cheap stuff.
The cheap looks like a sack of concrete. Grab that and bring that down with you, because it gets disposed of every day for health and safety and cleanliness reasons.
We are very stocked on animal food, thanks to the New Mexico Youth Challenge. In order for them to get an extra day of visitation, their family had to bring a 50-pound bag of dog food.
Well, enjoy your
or
extra
cat
day.
Food.
You've earned it.
So they did this twice, and
Awesome.
so they brought us 2 trailerfuls of dog food and some cat food.
Excellent.
So we are good on food right now.
But
it's
need
just
litter.
Litter.
So
Litter's our biggest need
keep your
right now.
food, bring the litter, and like you said, now if you have the expensive stuff, because if it's your cat, you can bring it by. They only use that for like if a cat's sick or something and need to quarantine and monitor and see what's going on, so they'll use those litters.
Right, so we can collect for fecal samples and that
so
stuff.
if you've got it and you have no use for it, bring it by. They will use it, but what they really need is the cheapo non-clumping, just the big 40-pound
Clay.
sack of clay litter there.
Yep.
That because they literally use old Coke cardboard containers, and those are temporary or daily litter boxes for these cats. And because of the nature of everything we do to keep the spread of disease and everything else, those are thrown away and disposed of at the end of every day. So it's a constant need of litter and things like that. So nothing nice or fancy, please, unless that's what you already have and you just don't need it anymore. Then we'll take it off. Good deal.
Anything helps.
Absolutely. Did we get it all?
I think we did.
Well, thank you as always. We'll see you here a couple weeks for the
Yep.
next one. And again, RoswellHumane.org is the website. And there you can, and be a member too. That's another place if you want to be a member. Everybody and anybody can be a member, and your membership fees also support the animals.
We're working on the April newsletter a little bit late, but it will come out soon.
Very good. It'll be coming.
It'll be coming.
In the meantime, go to the thrift store and buy some stuff.
Yes. Yes.
Very good. I'm telling you, once you do it once, it's going to be a bug, and you're going to be hit, and then you're like, oh, man, I didn't realize I could buy stuff this cheap at this thing, and it's so much just practically brand new. I was an idiot. I should have been doing this for years.
And it makes kind of an addiction. You're like, oh, I don't need nothing, but I'm just going to go look.
Right. So come by today.
Yes.
Thank you as always,
Thank you.
Crystal.
Thank you.
All right. It is 10 o'clock. That's going to do it for us. If you missed any part of the show, log on to ksvptv.com. You'll find it there. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. Have an amazing day, everybody.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The United States and Britain have agreed to an important trade deal, as announced by President Trump in the Oval Office this past hour.
The final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all very conclusive, but the actual deal is a very conclusive one. We think just about everything's been approved. So good for both countries, and we'll also receive new market access for American chemicals, machinery, and many other industrial products that weren't allowed.
The president said the agreement would lead to more beef and ethanol exports to the UK, which would also streamline the processing of U.S. goods through customs. During the early moments of that announcement, Britain's Prime Minister Starmer participated, speaking over the phone to Mr. Trump, stressing the importance of the relationship between the two countries as the anniversary of World War II victory in Europe was being commemorated. Also at townhall.com, the number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits fell last week. Jobless claim applications fell by 13,000 to 228,000 for the week ending May 3rd. That's according to the Labor Department. There is a new judicial intervention blocking U.S. authorities from deporting migrants to Libya, which is not their country of origin.
Attorneys for migrants facing deportation say in court filings, immigration enforcement agents have told their clients that they would be sent to Libya. 6 people detained in southern Texas were told they needed to sign a document agreeing to the transfer, and when they refused, their lawyers say they were handcuffed and put in a separate room. A federal judge has found the Trump administration cannot deport migrants to Libya unless they have a meaningful chance to challenge their removal in court. Ben Thomas, Washington.
Wall Street is sharply high.